Life is lazy, life is sweet when January comes. As long as one team's bowling and the other's making runs. I know as soon as I wake up, if it's my lucky day, if the cricket's on the ABC, then everything's okay. And the cricket's on my radio, and everybody's laying low. As long as there's a game somewhere, that's all I need to know. And there's cricket on my radio.
Hello, and welcome to a sunny Wanderers here for the final ODI in this World Cup preparation. It is called the Momentum Proteas ODI series with the West Indies women, and both teams will be hoping to iron out the final kinks and wrinkles before they get on the plane to go to the World Cup in New Zealand in 2022. It is the fourth ODI. The series currently is 1-1, so we have a decider. So strap in, sit down, play us on the radio or in your ears, and enjoy the lovely commentary here from One World Sports Radio, bringing you this women's ODI match between South Africa and the West Indies. It is a black ODI for South Africa, and it is an ODI that is against the gender-based violence, and the Momentum Proteas women will be wearing black. We're all wearing black today, and so that's also really good to see. Beside me, I've got Lerato Malikutu, and we'll be taking you through the first 10 overs. Hi, Lerato, how are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good, and you for looking good in your black dapper as always. It's great to be here.
Yes, it's a really great occasion here for the Momentum Proteas to say goodbye to the country in the final preparation, but also to take a stand before they leave.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen in South Africa the spate of GBV has really just increased, and every little bit of awareness goes a long way. And this is the second inaugural Black ODI. The first one was held last year against Pakistan. So it's great to see this initiative continuing, and the West Indies women as well getting behind, because they're also wearing black armbands, yes, making a stand.
That's really true. So news out from the middle is the toss was won by Anisa Mohammed of the West Indies, and they have chosen to bat first. The West Indies have 4 changes to their squad. Stefani Taylor is still out, and that brings in Mandy Mungru. Shakira Salman is out for Cherry Ann Fraser. Alia Elaine comes in for Chadine Nation. And the final change for the West Indies is Afi Fletcher, who's going to play her first game since maternity leave, will be coming in for Chanel Henry. So it's going to be really good to see Afi Fletcher as a leg spinner. From a South African perspective, the World Cup squad was announced, and we'll talk about that as we go along. But 3 changes. Annika Bosch steps out for Andre Steyn, who's not going to the World Cup, as well as Trisha Chetty comes in for Sinalo Jafta to add a little bit more strength to that batting, as well as Dumisi Kukune will be making her first appearance in this series. Yes, she took a catch as a sub in the last game, but she'll be coming in for Raisibe Ntozake. And the 2 batters out in the middle are Deandra Dotton and Rashada Williams. They'll be looking to give the West Indies a start. Deandra Dotton scored that lovely 150 in that game that was rained out.
Absolutely. They always look to her to really set up their innings and their platform. But I think in the last game, they wanted to see what they can do without her. She fell quite early. I think she went for 12. So it was important for the rest of the lineup to come in and play without her always having to rely on her experience.
Yeah, so we're going to make a stand for Black Lives Matter. Both teams are going to take the knee in solidarity for that cause against racism. While that's going on, remember, you can tweet into us at One World SR, One World, as in World SR Sports Radio, also on Facebook and as well as YouTube. We've got some early comments coming through on Facebook, so thank you very much. Remember, it is the final ODI and we have a decider. Winner takes everything, but what's more important is that World Cup at the end of February. New Zealand will play the first game of that World Cup against New Zealand, and South Africa will be playing West Indies on the 24th of March. All 8 teams will play each other. It's going to be really intriguing to see. Shabnim Ismail is the bowler from the golf course end. In this series, she's taken 6 wickets, an average of 14. She had an impressive spell on Friday night, taking 3 wickets for about 9 runs in a 4-over spell. So that's really good to see that she's getting her rhythm up. She's got 2 slips, gully, third man, point, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket in the ring, as well as fine leg on the boundary. Fine leg and third man are the 2 fielders in this first power play who will be out of the circle. Deandra Dotton is the bowler. Here we go. We're ready. The decider is about to start now. As we wait and see Shabnim Ismail coming forth from the golf course and past the umpire. This one's full and straight. She wraps Dotton on the pad, and there's an appeal from the South Africans. It looks like it was going down leg, and the umpire is unmoved at this point in time. So no run there, but a great start for Ismail.
Absolutely. I think the South African bowlers have really picked up Dotton's weaknesses throughout the series. You can see them bowling full and straight to the stumps. You saw that with Kaka, who's gotten her twice in the last 2 matches. So it's really been good to see how they've worked her out.
Yes. It's just not giving her room outside the off stump as Shabnim comes in from that golf course. And again, second ball of the day. This one, back of a length, rising up, surprising Dotton a lot straight on that off stump. She played it off the back foot. But she removed her hands very quickly to kind of let you know that the bounce wasn't what she expected. Goes out to point for no run.
Of course, the teams are playing on the same strip that they played on Thursday, and we saw a little bit of balls really hitting the top half of the bat. So there's always something in it in those opening 10 overs for sure.
The umpires for today are Lubabala Tuma and umpire Arno Jacobs. Next ball in from Juice's a forward defender was full on off stump, and Dotton just comes forward, defending that back out to the offside. Dumi, the fielder, at mid-off.
And you mentioned how Ismail is getting her straps. They played a lot of T20 cricket in the Big Bash, so getting back into that ODI rhythm has. It's taken a bit of time, and we saw her finally, hitting the straps.
Yeah, and this is like the only ODI series they've played since they've played in August. So the momentum Proteas will be wanting to get that through, as that next ball is a lot straighter this time when using a forward defensive back to the bowler. Still no run, 4 balls in. We're just wanting to see who will be the hero for today from both sides. Deandra Dotton came through on the first 2 matches, scoring that 150, and she scored that lovely 17 in that super over when the matches were tied, 160 plays, 160. And then Laura Wolford in the last game came through with a century. So there's 22 players today. We'll find out who the hero is after the 100 overs has been bowled. This one's down the leg side, quick single taken to the fielder at mid-on. She had to go a little bit wide of there onto her right, and single has been taken. First round's off the board, first round's off the bat. Deandra Dotton is on, and that brings in Rashada Williams, who scored her high score against South Africa in that tour to the West Indies. So only played 13 matches for the West Indies, and this series hasn't gotten a lot of runs.
Yeah, it's been really tough for her at the top of the order there. She just hasn't managed to consolidate herself and build that innings. And hopefully today, she has another opportunity.
Shabnim into Rashada. This one's a short ball outside the off stump. Rashada climbs the bounce and plays it out to point on the bounce. No run to end that first over, 1 without loss. This is a good start for South Africa. Good start for Shabnim, who didn't start well in the last game. She was going at 6 and over in that West Indies unsuccessful chase.
Absolutely. And now we're going to see Ayabonga Kaka coming from the corner driving. I was very impressed by her opening the bowling in the last match. She's really seems to be, at her peak at the moment, which is great timing for her. She's picked up her first 5er, and she's really just hitting her lines and lengths and being consistent, and also importantly taking those wickets.
Yes, improving as she goes along. 94 wickets has our Aya in international cricket. And she is just improving in leaps and bounds, getting close to being one of the 3 South Africans to have 100 wickets, joining the group with Marizam Cup as well as Shabnim. So it's going to be a really great milestone when she reaches that. We're hoping it's today. If we get a sixer today, it'll be a very short game, but a very lovely one for Aya as she comes in from the caller drive end into DeAndre Dotton. This one's wide outside the off stump, and DeAndre mistimes it and plays that out to mid-on. She was trying to play through cover, but just a little bit of a mistime, no run. It's got a slip, third man, fine leg on the boundary, backward point, conventional point, extra cover, wide-ish mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket. As we get Aya coming into DeAndre Dotton. This one's a lot straighter this time, and Dotton plays it out to the leg side. Quick single is going to be taken, and they come through just for one. They didn't want to chance their luck with Tasman Britz's arm. So 2 without loss.
Absolutely. I think, with the rise of Aya, she did have that, serious shoulder injury a few years ago, and it was really tough. I remember I spoke to her. It was really tough for her to come back. She was thinking about, maybe this cricket thing is not for me, but for her to be here, the peak of her second World Cup appearance, it's just wonderful to see.
But the thing I love about Aya, she keeps on improving year on year, adding more skills. We're seeing in this series, she's started using the slower ball, using her fingers in and around the ball, and her discipline in terms of line and length. There's been obviously this plan to DeAndre Dotton throughout the series of bowling wide outside the off stump, but giving your 5-6 fielders on the offside a chance at getting a wicket if you're going to play it on the up or anything else. And she's carried that down to a T. And even in the last game, she was so important for South Africa getting those 2 early wickets. So I'm really excited for her. I think she is one of the best fast bowlers in the world. And I think it's one of the reasons why South Africa will probably win this World Cup. As Aya comes in outside the off stump to Rashada Williams, this one is the fuller length, and Rashada lets her go through for no run. We had a bit of a stoppage in play. Rashada needing some help from umpire Kuma. And so we're now back with a play right now. And I think that's one of South Africa's key strengths going into the World Cup. If they can get Marizam Cup fit, Marizam normally opens with Shubnim, and then you have Aya coming in as first change. That tells me that you give yourself as much of a chance in this format as this one straight on off stump, back of a length, defended out to the leg side for no run. And this was the first series where Aya's actually opened the bowling for the Momentum Proteas. So she's done that really well with the new ball, and maybe something that Coach Hilton and the Brains Trust may think of, maybe going to the World Cup, maybe even surprising teams who are expecting Marizam and then giving them Aya.
Absolutely, and it's been great to see how she stood up to the challenge.
Aya into Rashada Williams. This one's back of a length outside the off stump. Rashada plays it off the back foot. Lovely punch, but straight to the field at extra cover, no run.
I think the impact that she's always made is coming in at first change. She's always been very economical. She's almost always in the shadows of a Karpen and Ishmael, but being economical allows you to continue building that pressure that the openers do build. So if they do look at changing things up, you hope that South Africa can continue with that format and that game plan.
Yes, Aya into Rashada Williams outside the off stump, a little bit fuller, but she still plays it off the back foot. She came across her stumps there in that last one and went a little bit squarer, but straight to the field at extra cover. End of that over, 2 without loss. Both openers for South Africa conceding just only 1 run. Really good start for Sune Lys and her team, hoping to win a series before they go to the World Cup. Remember, we're sitting here, I think, in the first ODI when DeAndre Dotton was just exploding on everyone, and we thought this is where the West Indies become dangerous. Once they win one, they go further. But the rain kind of stopped that one. And even though they won the second ODI, it was a little bit tight, and South Africa then blew the barn door open in that third ODI, leveling the series on Friday with a massive 299 being set in that first innings. Shubnim into DeAndre Dotton. That's a loose ball down the leg side, played off that front foot through the mid wicket to the mid wicket boundary for 4. It was being chased, but the ball wins at the end of the day. It was a leg stump half volley, and DeAndre Dotton will take that very well.
Yes, Ishmael just missing her length there. You can see her still continuing with that plan to Dotton, and Dotton realizing that, oops, they've got something free for me here, and making good use of that. She's off the mark. She has been off the mark. Yes. I just wanted to chat a bit about Williams,
Yes, I will chat after this ball as Shubnim comes into DeAndre Dotton. She gets a bit of an edge onto that as she plays a full and wide one with a horizontal bat shot. Gets a bit of an underedge that went to Trisha Chetty, and it didn't stick into Trisha Chetty's gloves. You can see how frustrated she is. Opportunity lost for the South Africans.
Absolutely, and not ideal, in your first match in. Jafta has been very, very handy behind the wickets there, but Trisha Chetty getting an opportunity today, and that one just not sticking. She got quite a bit of a thick edge to that. So it came by really quickly to her and
just dropped it, unfortunately, there. Shubnim into Rashada Williams, who plays this one off the back foot as a back of the length ball outside the off stump, back to the bowler, no run. Rashada's case is really interesting, because she's new into international cricket, 13 matches being played, but she needs runs behind her belt. She scored a lovely 78 in the West Indies against South Africa, but it hasn't worked out that well. And she'll be hoping that today is the day.
Absolutely. And I wonder if she would have played today if Stefani Taylor and Shadi Nation hadn't been injured in the previous match.
That's very true. Shubnim with the ball shortish outside the off stump. Rashada looking to play at that, pulling away at the back end, was still too wide to play at that, went straight to Trisha Chetty for no run. That's a first moment there in the second over with DeAndre Dotton being dropped by Trisha Chetty. That ball, after it hit the bat, it went leg side. And it was the footing for Trisha Chetty. She was really going down the right when the ball was going left. And unfortunately, that resulted in the drop. Oh, that's a beautiful stroke there from Rashada Williams. She got a ball that was full on off stump. It was a half volley. And she played that really lovely straight drive, dissecting both mid-on and mid-off to that boundary for 4. Score goes up to 11 without loss. Dotton on 6, Rashada Williams on 4.
Absolutely. Rashada Williams sort of trying to get her innings into full swing there. It's always a good confidence booster getting that boundary and ticking off your account.
Yeah, well, she's been on naught for on 0 for quite a while now, and so she was getting a lot of good bowling. And she gets another short ball into her body. She plays it off the back foot out to point. For no run. You can see that Rashada likes playing the ball off the back foot, and anything that is more like in her area, full and actually over pitch, she'll play down. But it feels like she's quite reluctant to come forward. Even with that one, she just took a little step, and it was more of a defensive stroke, and letting that ball go down to that boundary. But lovely timing from her so far. Really struggled in this series, but good sign so far. 11 without loss.
Absolutely. The Kaka Dotton, I always say it's a cat and mouse, we always say Tom and Jerry, it's about to start again, and that's always very intriguing between these two.
Yes, Aya has dismissed DeAndre Dotton twice in the series. This one is full outside the off stump. Dotton plays that off the back foot out to the fielder at cover for no run. Still one slip. The 2 fielders outside in this power play for Dotton are the third man and fine leg. You've got 3 fielders on the offside in the ring. It's backward point, cover point, and extra cover. You also have mid-off, slightly wide-ish there. Oh, that's a full toss. Played down the leg side. It will be leg buys as the ball coming off the pad of Dotton as they come through for a single. So it'll be 12 without loss. 2 extras on the board. Something that South Africans need to watch out for. They conceded 28 extras in that last game, and I think that was probably the West Indies top run scorer, because they really did struggle after Kaisia Knight scored that 70. This one is on off stump, back of the length, played back down the ground. Dumisi Kukune fielding really well at mid-on. She's Dumi's a really lovely cricketer, because I think she always comes in with a lot of energy. She's always there in the field, and her bowling's also really improved after getting that award, I think in 2019, where she was newcomer of the year. Outside the off stump, back of the length to Rashada Williams was Ayabonga Kaka from that corner drive end, and has played off the back foot out to mid-off. The other thing is, it's 3.3 runs and over. South Africa's not going to be too worried, because you want to keep DeAndre Dotton silent. The one way is to keep her on the other end.
Absolutely. I think, the West Indies have always gotten off to a flyer in those opening 10 overs with her at the crease.
Oh, that's a full ball on that off stump, and Rashada Williams just plays that across the line to the leg side, quick single to square leg, 13 without loss.
They've always got him off to fly, but they've also always taken wickets because Williams is always given that opportunity to get into that attack.
Yes. And then obviously Kaisia Knight having a good innings last game because she struggled. And so I'm hoping, or Rashad will be hoping to take a leaf out of Kaisia's book because both of them are the two batters coming into this well-established West Indies side as a ball that's short and full short and wide from Ayabonga Kaka that's blasted through extra cover. Diallo doesn't even need to run at that one because that went like a tracer bullet to that extra cover boundary for 4.
She just rocked back on her back foot and slapped it across the covers. She's a marvel to watch when she gets one in her zone.
She looks. I don't know what she looks like underneath that helmet, but that shot tells me that she was so disrespected by the type of ball that was bowled to her, and the answer was a really good shot there. It was to hit that with disdain. A lot of disdain. So yes, 17 without loss at the end of 4 overs. Run rate so far for the West Indies is 4.2. Shubnim is going to continue. Dotson's on 10, but it'll be Rashada Williams on 5, facing Shubnim from the golf course end. A lot fuller at the pads this time, but the ball will be played out to square leg. A quick single's been taken. Great calling from Dotson. And it will not be leg buys. It'll be a run to Rashada Williams. So score goes up to 18, Rashada up to 6.
Good awareness there by Dotson. I think she also, as much as South Africa doesn't want her on strike, she knows how important it is for her to be on strike, given how Williams' series has gone.
They've conceded quite a few dot balls already in this innings of 25 balls, and so you want to try and turn those dots into quick singles. As another dot ball has been converted into a single but there's a shot, the stubs on the other end. Shubnim bowled a full ball outside the off stump. Dotton played it off the back foot straight to the fielder. Cover, that was Nadine de Klerk. She made a meal of it, which enabled the West Indians to run through for a single. And Nadine took a shot at the stumps as Dotton was trying to make her way back in. And so the decision's gone upstairs, but everybody seems to get a sense that she is not out. But one of the reasons why our coaches always told us, Lerato, to never run on a misfield is because of that. It was a slight little misfield. They thought they could take the run. And I'm loving the intent from the West Indians to try and convert those dots into singles a little bit more.
Absolutely. But South Africa's inner ring has brilliant fielders. We could see that with that direct hit there. So it's always a risk, I would say, trying to take on those singles off the misfield.
Yes, and I beg your pardon, the field is actually Mignon du Prayer. Nadine de Klerk is actually on the leg side. She's actually fielding at catching mid-wicket right now as 2 slips are in for Rashada Williams. It's a lot straighter this time from Shubnim. She's not happy with that ball as Rashada plays it straight to mid-on for no run. Just losing it probably in a gather because she's putting a lot of balls down the leg side and it feels like she's letting her wrist go a little bit more. But she's played over 100 ODIs for South Africa. She'll know how to fix it. We are not here to let her know what she needs to do. She knows how to fix it. It's just that's what it looks like as the ball's coming out of her hand as Shubnim comes in from the golf course and to Rashada Williams. And she gets this one straight. No risk letting go there. Straight through the gates of Rashada Williams. It was going through, went through that off stump between bat and pad. Rashada playing it off the back foot. And it is a wicket to South Africa. She's been bowled for 6. Having faced 15 balls, 19 for 1.
I think maybe she was listening to you there, Coach, because she definitely got that one straight, and that was really where she was trying to direct the ball, and she caught her wicket. She really celebrated there, Ishmael, almost like, I got this.
Yeah, so Rashada actually got an inside edge onto the stumps there. She looked like she played with that ball way far from the body, and Shubnim got the ball to tail in a little bit into that right-hander, getting that inside edge onto the stumps. South Africa have their breakthrough. It is 19 for 1. That brings in Kaisia Knight, who had a top score in the last game of 69 against South Africa at the Wanderers. So she'll be hoping that those good vibes from Friday night are still there.
Absolutely. The selectors have shown faith in her. They went with her even though she was struggling, but she finally came good on Thursday night and held that innings together. Although they did lose their captain Stefanie Taylor and Shadeen Nation in that run chase, but it was really good for her to get some confidence and those runs under the belt.
It's a really tough series for Rashada Williams, who struggled with the bounce today. And you can see that because she played back to a ball that she was supposed to play a lot more forward to. Also, there's a lot of technical things that they're probably going to have to work on while they're on their way to New Zealand. Now we've got an interesting field. To Kaisia Knight, the left-hander. Shubnam coming into the left-handed Kaisia Knight. It's full and straight on off stump, defender back to the ball, no run. So there's a slip, a catching gully, and you've also got a backward point as well as a conventional point. You also have third man on the boundary. So you've got 4 fielders behind square on the offside. On the leg side, you've got fine leg behind square. You've got mid-wicket, who's a little bit in catching. You've got mid-on and mid-off. So essentially what they're saying is she's going to drive on the up. And Shubnam's not bowling to that plan right now as Kaisia Knight gets one on her pad. She tucks it around the leg side for a quick single to get to the other end. 20 for 1 after 5. Last over, the wicket of Rashada Williams happened for 6. So West Indies did choose to win the toss and choose to bat. And currentently they're going at 4 runs and over.
Absolutely. And like you said, they made a few changes today. We do hope that their captain, Stefanie Taylor, is all right. She did, suffer a blow to the head in the last match, as well as Shadeen Nation, who had to be stretchered off. They would probably have been the 2 forced changes. And young Mangru coming in, as well as Fletcher and Fraser. So that's very good for them to see what they can offer and really, as they try to firm up their World Cup squad, see what combinations are working.
Teams around the world are announcing their World Cup squads. West Indies have yet to, but South Africa have. And we will discuss that as Aya comes in from the caller drive. And to the left-hander, Kaisia Knight. This one's full and straight on middle stump, right arm over to the left-hander. And she plays the one out to that mid-wicket, who's on the square catching, like 4 pitch lengths away from the batter, no run. Yeah, so South Africa's World Cup squad was announced on Friday midday. Really good to see the 15 plus 3 ladies who were selected. As this one's outside the off stump, full drawing Kaisia Knight forward, and it went straight through to Trisha Chetty, a lovely play and a miss. But South Africans really excited because that's the plan. Trying to get her driving on the up, and maybe she can get caught behind, or playing one straight to the field at extra cover. The difference between Shubnam and Aya here is that Aya's got an extra cover, but when Shubnam bowls to Kaisia, that extra cover is at second slip. Full and straight on off stump, defended back to the bowler, no run to extra cover or to cover point for no run. Yeah, so obviously there were three traveling reserves selected. That was Nadine de Klerk, Raisiben Dozake, as well as Anna Kabosh. But it was really just an expected side for the South Africans. Aya coming into Kaisia Knight. This one squares her up a little bit, goes to point. They're going to take the quick single. The non-strikers end is where the drama's at. But as the throw kick comes in from Laura, it hits Kaisia Knight's bat and ricochets away. So the West Indies will take the single. But they're living on a very scary times as DeAndre Dotton's trying to rotate the strike.
Absolutely. You saw Dotton calling her back there to have a little chat. I think they're probably saying, let's calm this down. They're both very experienced. There's no need for them to take unnecessary risks.
Yes, it's not, you don't need to take unnecessary risks as Aya comes into DeAndre Dotton's out straight to this time. She plays out to mid-wicket, who's in the ring for no run.
Just obviously with the Ishmael and Kaka, pace comparison, obviously Ishmael's got a lot more pace. So, the ball will most likely fly to that slip cordon, whereas Aya, also with her lengths, she's most likely get that cover, that, those catching fielders by the point side in the game.
Oh, straight back to Aya. She bowls a full toss and Dotton played it straight back to her and went in and out of her. She is really, truly disappointed. Second drop of DeAndre Dotton today to end the 6th over, 21 for 1. Tough chance.
Very, very tough chance, but she would have wanted that one. Imagine having three off Dotton It's always difficult when you're a bowler coming through and you follow through. There's so much going on, but
it has to stick. The reaction time is too quick for you to be able to think, oh no, I need to. Oh no, it was in and out. Unlucky, it did not stick. 21 for 1 after 6. Just want to go through that World Cup squad, Lerato. Sune Lis will be the captain. You've got Laura Volfart, Tasman Brits, Laura Goodall, Mignon Dupre, Marizan Karp, Chloe Tran, Sinalo Jafta, Shabnam Ishmael, Ayabonga Kaka, Gulego Mlaba, Masabata Class, Lizal Lee, Dumisi Kukune, and Trisha Chetty are the 15. And then they've picked 3 traveling reserves. That is Raisiba Dozake, Nadine de Klerk, and Anna Kabosh. The squad of 18 will be traveling together. So it's not like the 3 are going to be sitting somewhere in a hotel while the team plays. So I love the squad. I think it's a very strong squad. Obviously, Danae van Niekerk is injured, and that would have been it's a tough loss for the Momentum Proteas, but I think they have a really strong squad. Ayabonga Kaka is getting some help on her wrists or her hands after that ball went in and out. And so we've got a bit of a stoppage in play. But are there any surprises for you in the squad, or is it the squad that you expected?
No, I think it's stock standard. I would have thought, I know, Nadine de Klerk for me is really, a power player. She can change the game. I know she is traveling, but, I don't know somehow if she could have been in that squad, but it's difficult. But I think it's very well balanced. We've covered all the bases, you know. And also for me, the big thing is the experience. A lot of those players have been in that tough World Cup situation. If we go back to 2017, where we lost in the semi-finals, so a lot of them would be wanting to get that revenge, trying to avenge that disappointing finish thing. So I think we've got a very, very good squad, and it shows our number 2 ODI status, definitely.
Yes. And to all those South African fans who are worried about Aya, she is walking to her spot at Fine Leg with the physio. Just she looks okay. I love that magic spray. It does the wonders.
Is it really magic? Eh?
that's what everyone calls it. It's a magic spray. You spray it, and everyone now all of a sudden you have no pain. But one slip, catching gully, third man, backward point, extra cover, mid off, mid on, mid wicket, really catching now. As Shabnam comes into Kaisia Knight outside the off stump. This time it was full. She drives that one straight to the fielder. Add extra cover on the bounce, no run. And obviously Aya is at fine leg, wideish fine leg this time for Kaisia Knight. 7-2 field, or 6-3 field. So the plan is obviously to bowl across Kaisia Knight, get her driving through the covers. Actually, extra cover is not extra, it's actually conventional. So it's quite interesting to see that they've left the gap open for Kaisia Knight. Shibnim into Kaisia Knight. This one's a lot straighter and short and pulled square, and it's going to require Aya to chase it down, and she does not as the ball races away to the square leg boundary for 4. Kaisia Knight's batting with a lot of confidence right now. She's up to 6 as the West Indies total goes up to 25.
Absolutely, that just wasn't the length for this field that they've set, and Kaisia Knight capitalizing on that.
Yes, you can't. If you want to bowl it short, you need to bowl it outside the off stump to try and force the batter to engage our third man over there with a bit of a ramp shot and not bowl it necessarily straight. But she did pull it across the line with that little one-legged shot. Shibnam around the wickets to the left-handed Kaisia Knight. Much better line there from her outside the off stump, a little bit full. But Kaisia letting that go through to Trisha Chetty for no run.
Just back to Dumisi Kukune, she's getting her first match in of the series. If she, for me, was the main, coming in as in the 15 ladies squad ahead of de Klerk, I would have liked her to get more Denklan.
Yeah.
De Klerk played in the last match.
And I think it's a little bit hard to try and, give people an opportunity, give people game time. Also getting the main players a lot of back up to speed in terms of bowling loads, as this one's a short one outside the off stump played out to point. Yeah, I would have loved that. I'm a fan of Dumi's bowling, but I do think that even in that 11, the question obviously with her is between her and Masabata class, and I think the selectors are wanting to see Masabata a little bit more, and I think it ended up being Masabata pipping out Nadine de Klerk in that side, and so it's tough being part of the selection committee because you've got so many quality players. at your disposal, and not a lot of games to give them a chance. Full ball defended out to the offside, quick single taken by Kasia Knight, and DeAndre Dotton will come into the striker's end. It's a left-hand, right-hand combination, so it's going to disrupt the bowler's lines and lengths, and now the South Africans have to now shift over to set themselves up for DeAndre Dotton, who has 2 slips. So 26 for 1.
Absolutely. We saw that come into play on Thursday with Knight batting. She was always looking to rotate the strike, and perhaps that contributed to us bowling, to South Africa bowling so many wides.
Shipping into DeAndre Dotton. This one is a blocker ball for Yorker length, and Dotton digs that out really nicely and guides that so well to third man to end that over. Single taken, 27 for 1. That was the surprise ball, ladies and gentlemen, and Dotton played that like she was expecting it.
Absolutely. Like you said, dug that out almost like an expert, eh?
I've been waiting for you.
He would have left a lot of batters,
That's a wicket ball.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
A wicket ball. So yeah, 27 of that, 27 for 1 after 7, 3.9 overs. 3.9 is the run rate achieved. This partnership is worth 8. Dotton on 12, Knight on 7. We see our first bowling change. We're getting Nadine de Klerk into the side. She's going to be bowling from the caller drive end.
She came in really well on Thursday. It was also her first game, and also trying to impress. She really stuck to her game plans, which was great to see, and restricted the West Indies.
Yes, right arm medium. Bowls a pretty heavy ball. She likes to dig it into the surface. It's not skiddy. And so I think that's what the South Africans are looking to try and see if they can't get DeAndre Dotton mistiming a heavy ball. As this one just goes down the leg side, and for a loosener from Nadine de Klerk to DeAndre Dotton, who places one off her pads for a leg by. They'll take the single. It's 28 for 1.
Take the single and change the field. That's always how it is with that left-hand, right-hand combination.
Yes, and the interesting thing about Nadine, she can get the ball to swing. So I know Aya also is a swing bowler, but Nadine's length's a little bit shorter, so you might just force the West Indians to play off the back foot. But this time she plays on the front foot. It was too full, over pitched outside off stump, driven through extra cover by Kasia Knight. One of the best cover drives you'll see today. It's an early contender for shot of the day, as it was well timed. 4 runs.
Absolutely beautiful shot, and there you see with Nadine trying to get that swing, trying to boil it full, but just missing her mark there, and Knight capitalizing on that.
Yes, yeah, and she was searching for that swing, and she got the middle of the bat. Yeah, so now no slip. It's a fly catching gully backward point. 3 fielders between cover and mid-off, as this one is a full outside that off stump, a little bit wide this time. Kasia Knight playing and missing that one to Trisha Chetty for no run.
She just got to her knees there. It just shows you how wide she had to go, but not connecting.
She was reaching for that one, actually.
Yeah.
It was slightly fuller than the previous one. So you can see that Kasia is also trying to put pressure on Nadine. Another full outside the off stump. This one going through to the keeper for no run. I'd like Nadine to bowl a little bit shorter. Push Kasia Knight a little bit further back in her crease. Force her to think about her foot movement a little bit more, and then give her the surprise ball. But maybe she's trying to do it the other way around, bowl a lot fuller, and then bowl the short one to surprise and probably get one of those catches in play. Nadine, full outside off stump, driven this time, square drive to that cover boundary for 4. It did beat the fielder, that's Andre Steyn, at cover for 4 runs. Really good shot from Kasia Knight. This time opening up the face of the bat and playing it through cover. She's really good batting right now from her 2 boundaries in this over. And she now passes Dotton, who was on 12, and now she's on 15.
Yeah, that was a glorious strike by her. I think she's just getting into a rhythm. Obviously, de Klerk is assisting with those balls.
Mm-hmm. Another full and wide and driven again. Same answer to the same questions Nadine's been asking the whole over long. This one is now a lot straighter through extra cover. Lovely drive, beating those three fielders in that area for 4.
De Klerk almost just looks around in, disbelief, or is it frustration? She's a very fiery character
She's just
as well.
overpitching it.
Yeah.
She's just overpitched. All 3 4s were overpitched. I don't know what she's searching for, but she needs to drag her length a little bit, because even if she's going to get the edge, it's going to come off the lower part of the bat if she does with that length, rather than maybe dragging it back and getting the high part of the bat to either that catching gully or the keeper.
Absolutely. And again, we spoke about that first change role. They need to also keep the pressure that the opening bowlers would have kept. And that was a very, very, very good over for the West Indies to alleviate that pressure that's been building.
Yes, 13 runs off of that over, score now 40 for 1. Dumisi Kukune is now at the golf course end, first change as well. She comes into bowl to DeAndre Dotton. It's a lot straighter, and it's a little bit of a back of a length. DeAndre Dotton trying to throw everything at that ball, but playing inside of it as it goes to Trisha Chetty for no run. A little bit of some seam movement as it pitches there, and it goes past the bat. DeAndre Dotton was looking to put that behind and over the stands from Dumi's loosener there. She's got a catching gully and a backward point. And this one is played off the back foot, a little bit of a back of a length played off the back foot on the bounce to backward point for no run. Yeah, so you've got catching gully, backward point, third man and fine leg outside of the ring. And you've got cover, extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, all on the edge of the ring. Dumi into DeAndre Dotton's lot straighter. Down the leg side, they're going to take a quick single to Tasman, who's going to try and throw it at the stumps, but her throw was a little bit loose and not as deadly as one would have thought. And Dotton makes it safe to the non-strikers end, 41 for 1.
I think a lot of Dumi's success, has come from the fact that batters probably think she's innocuous. She's quite really small in stature and wouldn't think that she'd be very.
So Dumi comes in from that golf course end down the on the offside, outside off stump, and Kaisia Knight plays it out to leg side, no run.
Wouldn't think that she would trouble the batters a lot, and I think that's what works in her advantage most of the time.
Isn't that, and that's her thing, and her claim, well, her strength, as well as her ability to bowl straight. She bowls wicket to wicket, really forcing the batters to always defend. As this next one is on off stump across the left-handed Kaisia Knight, right arm over and defended back to the bowler, no runs, rising a little bit off a length as Kaisia plays it off the back foot, no run.
Absolutely, and she did say, ahead of the series, how she wants to be more consistent, fight for that place, her place at the side, and this is her opportunity. She also did have COVID, so perhaps she was still recovering.
Yes, that is very true. As this one is the back of a length outside the off stump, Kaisia Knight letting that go through, choosing not to play at that one. End of the 9th over, 41 for 1. 1 run coming off that Dumi over to kind of stem the tide after 13. Came off Nadine's first. She's getting a lot of discussion with Shubnim to kind of help her find that right line of length. It felt like it was a heat-seeking over where she was trying to find that length, and every time she tried to bowl it full, she was driven through the cover. So hopefully this over from Nadine, which will be our last over in commentary, is a good one. To keep up that pressure that Aya and Shubnim did.
Absolutely. That's great to see Ishmael speaking to her, but because this is a very important period of play for the Proteas and West Indies. They've got wickets at hand. They're going at 4.6 and over, so they really do have the impetus right now, and if they just get loose, it could get messy here.
Nadine into DeAndre Dotton. This one's a lot fuller outside off stump, driven back. Just a little punch back out to extra cover, defended by Dotton, no run. And these are the two informed batters for the West Indies. They can cause damage the longer they stay in here. They are not worried about the runs on the board or scoring slowly, because if these two are still in here by over 20, a lot of South Africa will be in a lot of trouble. as Nadine comes into down to Dotton's a lot straighter. This one's a drive over the top of mid-on. It was a little bit of a missed time coming off the inside half of the bat. Another over-pitch ball from Nadine de Klerk dispatched over to the boundary for 4. This one to the long-on boundary, 45 for 1.
Yeah, Nadine de Klerk is just struggling a little bit with her strategy here. She's just not getting it in the slot of where she wants to get these batters on the defensive. It's just becoming too easy for them to capitalize on those scoring balls.
Yes, and to a certain extent, I'd be comfortable with her bowling outside off stump and trying to get hit through the offside than having this one now. Another straighter one. She bowled the first one on off stump. This one's down leg and an easy tuck to fine leg for a single. 46 for 1 as Dotton goes up to 18.
And for sure, and as partnership, like you said, really increasing. It's on 27 now. And they've really just been, rotating the strike. I guess you had that really big over from de Klerk, the previous one, but it's really been risk-free at the moment.
Yes, and it's one of the questions to why Sine Elise wouldn't have bowled Aya and Shidman for one more over. I think they could have just eked out a bit of a wicket as Nadine comes around the wicket to Kaisia Knight. It's full on off stump, defended out to point, and they come through for a single off of that. All the fielders are on the ring, so there is a chance for you to take quick singles. And these two are batting like they've batted for their entire lives together. Really, a really good partnership between them, just being able to understand when to take the run and when not to. And it's become better from the drama earlier in the innings. Nadine into, it's 47 for 1 into DeAndre Dotton. Short back of a length ball, surprising DeAndre Dotton with a little bit of bounce. It was a lot straighter this time. And all Dotton could do was just play with soft hands out to the offside and a run.
Absolutely. The West Indies have shown, a confidence in their top 6, and their top 6 has been the one that's delivered the goods. But these two, the experience that they have, it really does shine out. And a lot of the youngsters who would be coming in, will be taking a lot from that. But Williams, if she,
Nadine into DeAndre Dotton. This one is another missed time drive to mid-off. She was hoping to play it a lot straighter, but it came off the inside half of the bat and on a full ball. And it will be the end of the over. Single was taken there, 48 for 1 after 10. Dotton on 19, Knight on 20. And the only wicket to fall in the first 10 overs was that of Rashada Williams on 6. We'll be having a commentary change. So we're going to say goodbye to Lerato Malikutu, and we'll be bringing in Dave Midgley, as well as Chris Tyndall-Biscoe, our stats man, to take you through the next 10 overs. Remember, the score's still 48. This partnership is worth 29. It's at a stage where South Africa truly need a wicket. As I hand you over to David Midgley.
Yeah, thank you for that report. An evenly poised game. There's been a couple of drop chances, but the South Africans here, if they don't take a wicket very soon, there is going to certainly be a shift. Alongside me in a moment will be Chris Tyndall-Biscoe, but South Africa needs to pick up a wicket here. Over the wicket, right on over, and what a shot. She's just absolutely smashed that over the rope. 6 runs, and Dotton is not here to mess around. South Africa now have to think about where they're going. Sekhukhune just over-pitching there, Chris, and banished to the ether.
Yeah, I don't think that one could have been punished any harder. Just straight drive sixes are it's one of my favorite shots to see, and that was executed to perfection.
It's a bit of a masterclass here, but that brings the 50 up for the West Indies, 54 from 1 ball into the 11th, and Dotton on 25 with Knight on 20. This partnership now worth 35, and they're going at 5.3 to the over. Good start here by the Windies, Chris, but I think in the next little while, if South Africa don't squeeze these two batters, they're going to struggle. Sekhukhune in again, right arm over, and it's a better delivery this time, but just drop and run there from Dotton. She gets through to the other side, 55 for 1.
Yeah, obviously you can't win or lose the game in the first 10 overs, really, but you can start to set the tone, and shots like that definitely make me think that DeAndre Dotton's going to make the South African side suffer again.
Again, that's the crucial word, Chris, is that she managed to get 150 not out in the first game, and it it was just a real masterclass in batting. She's just got to have Kaisia Knight for company at the other end to support her. JT ducks down, and that one from Sekukune just forcing Kaisia Knight into a full stroke, but no run there. 10.3 overs gone, halfway through the 11th. It's not a bad delivery there. It's just line and length with Chetty up to the stumps. And good take behind. She's going to put pressure on the South African bowlers. Will Deandra Dotson, if she gets going here. Sekukune in again, right arm over from the golf course end, and this is just guided down to a third fine. And Chloe Tryon does the fielding. They get through for 156 for 1. 2 balls remaining in this over.
You were talking about Deandra Dotson's performance in that first match, and I do think South Africa, the rain saved South Africa a little bit. They also saved the record books. We were talking about the fact that if they'd batted out the full 50 overs, Deandra Dotson would have been second on the list in women's ODIs for the highest percentage of runs in a completed innings, because she scored about 65% of their runs, which, yeah, proper Bannerman stuff there.
Talking about massive contributions. Change now in the field. Chloe Tryon is going to come from a third fine to fine leg in the ring, and long on and long off go back. So you might imagine, Chris, there's going to be a fuller pitch delivery here. There's 2 fielders out on the offside besides long off. This one is back of a length, and she just punches this down the ground. Does Deandra Dotson, gets through for 157 for 1. Yeah, so there was somebody sweeping out on the cover boundary, but now a change in field with the left-right hand combination. South African bowlers not able to settle, particularly when these 2 batters are rotating so freely. So there's a third fine, a fine leg, long on and long off in the ring, so it's middle on, middle off, and there's somebody sweeping out on the cover boundary. Sekukune to wrap up the 11, she comes right on over the wicket, and that's just a drop and go thought there from Kaisia Knight, but she's not able to get it away as Laura Wolfart screams in from a point region and denies any opportunity for a single there. 11 gone, 57 for 1. Dotton on 27, Kaisia Knight on 21. Partnership 38.
And we were talking about Deandra Dotson being the dangerous batter at the crease, but Kaisia Knight's probably another wicket that the South African side really wants to get out. I think she's the second highest run scorer for the West Indies so far in this series, although a fair way behind Deandra Dotson, who's just been stellar.
Yeah, speaking of these 2 are going to probably put on quite a solid partnership, as there's a change in bowling. Captain Sunay Loose is going to be bowling 92 matches, and she's got 108 wickets at an average of 20.3 economy, 4.5. Her best coming against Ireland in 2018, a 6-for in Dublin. But these 2 are going to put on a big partnership if the South Africans don't snuff this out. But South Africa had their own opportunity in the last game, Chris, with Laura Wolfart and skipper Sunelius. She bowls right on over the wicket. And the first one is just defended. Well bowled. It's not a bad start there. South Africa also have options in terms of spin with Danae van Niekerk, who's out as well, and Sunay Lewis and Rasiba Ntozake. This one's in again. It's a little bit straighter, but turns away from the right-hander of Dotson, and she just nudges this to the onside for 1 at long on.
Yeah, so lots of spin bowling stocks in the South African camp, but in this particular 11, I think Sunay Lewis is going to be doing the heavy lifting, surrounded by pacers. And the one thing we've seen her bring, throughout her career, but especially in this series, is just slowing down that run rate. She's been far and away the most economical of the South African bowlers.
Catching mid-wicket in place, Mignon du Preez. Right on over the wicket to the left-handed Kaisia Knight, and she hits it exactly to that catching mid-wicket on the onside, just on the bounce. It's not the norm, Chris, for leg spinners to dry up the runs. She's in again over the wicket from the corner drive end, and that's this one's a little bit squarer this time from Kaisia Knight. She gets through for 1 as du Preez does the fielding.
I guess, yeah, it sort of works on a gradient. With in the shortest formats, often the leg spinners or the wrist spinners can be the most economical, and then in tests, you have to be pretty brilliant to be an economical test wrist spinner.
This one's floated up, and she just drives that away through the offside down to long off. Does Deandra Dotson, and Nadine de Klerk does the fielding down at long off. Yeah, I mean, the leg spinners in the longest format of the game have always struggled, bar the king himself, Shane Keith Warne. This one's floated up again. She's given it a lot of flight in that last delivery, but Cassia Knight just replicates her teammate's shot, and they get through for 1 down to long on. End of the over, 12 gone, 61 for 1. 42 is the partnership now. Dotton on 29, Knight on 23. South Africa have the single wicket of Williams. She scored 5 more than her average for the series. She was out for 6, and it was a delivery in which she chopped onto her own stumps, and the furniture were displaced everywhere. It was wonderful to see. It's a fast bowler's favorite sight to see stumps all over the Yoki. Sekhukhune to begin a new over. She just the 2 under her belt, 10 runs from it.
Doesn't have the long on and long off out on the boundary anymore. They're just outside the ring or just on the ring.
I imagine that will be for Dotton. She's in again to Cassia Knight. Tries to play the square of the wicket. It's a foolish delivery, but or rather length delivery that she's played off of her hips to try and play it square. But no opportunity there for Cassia Knight to get away with 1. Dot ball, 61 for 1. Yeah, I imagine that long on and long off will go back for Deandra Dotton.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll stick around for Cassia Knight. They know that Cassia is more of a cover driver. This one is just hits out into the covers, and they're able to cross for 1, and everybody changes fielding positions.
As we do see
combination.
mid on and mid off become long on and long off very quickly.
Yeah, as we just see Dotton as well favoring that one. She absolutely smashed her ball in the previous over. Well, from this end, from the golf course end, over the rope for 6. Sekhukhune in again. It's a better length, and she does it fielding off of her own bowling. It's a standard length, and Dotton just bashes this into the ground, and so it's not much of a fuss there for Sekhukhune to do the fielding. Third final place, sweeper on the cover boundary. Long on, long off. The rest of them are in the ring. Square leg, fine leg, a wideish mid-wicket, almost like a cow corner. This one is slapped away to that. It's a length delivery and a little bit of width there from Sekhukhune, and slapped away to the cover boundary. And there's 1 for the sweeper to clean up there. And everybody changes once again. It's like musical chairs almost. Just see, having a look here. There's a catching cover in place, and Chris kind of catching extra cover. Sekhukhune in again, and this one's guided down to third. Fine. Tryon does the fielding, and they get through for 1. 64 for 1. 1 ball remaining in the 13th. They've obviously got a plan here, Chris, with how they're placing their field. You look at, obviously there's long on, but at a wideish long on kind of cow corner in the ring. It's interesting that they've gone with that one.
Yeah, especially, I mean, we'll keep talking about it for the rest of the innings because it was so superb. But that 6 was a lot straighter than that long on.
Sekhukhune in again, and this was fuller and driven hard, but she does great work there to clean up off of her own bowling. She ends the 13th, 64 for 1. Dotton on 30, Cassia Knight on 25, and the partnership 5 away from 50. Yeah, you spoke about it, Chris. Lewis is having to dry up the runs, and she's done exactly that. They were going at 5.5 at one point, and now they've just dipped under 5 with this partnership going along nicely. It's just 4 from her first over, so the South African captain performing with the bat, Chris, but she's going to hope to put on an exemplary performance today with the ball.
Right, and I've come across a slightly alarming statistic. This is whole.
Lewis in again. She's floated this one. It's full and just driven to mid-off, no run.
So obviously Deandra Dotton, this is the best series she's played. She's averaging 115, this innings included. But every single innings, or every single series that she's averaged over 50, the West Indies have gone on to win.
Loose in again, and she tries to push this out square, does Knight. And no luck for her there. Sekhukhune does the fielding at point. So clearly when she does well, the Windies do well as well.
Yeah.
Snellos in again, floated and hit square, and a bit of a slip and slide there on the adjacent strip there for Mignon de Priere, and she wasn't able to get a hand to it, but they get through for 1, and Tryon does the fielding there. It was shame. I think it was where Mignon du Preez was fielding quite square to where she is now. She's almost on the left shoulder of long on, but right up close, maybe for a mistimed drive. Loose in again. That's much better delivery. There's a big shot there from behind the stumps from Chetty, but Sinead Lewis is not interested, and umpire Harris just signals for 2 balls remaining in the over.
Oh, so that doesn't mean 2 wickets when he puts up a...
if only for South African fans. Loose in again. And this one is a little bit straighter this time, and doesn't turn as much, and so Dotton just drives that to du Preez at a catching extra cover? Wideish mid-off. In the right on the adjacent strips, still on the square though. This one's fuller into the pads, and Dotton just defends that one. Well bowled from that one, just 1 from the over, 65 for 1. Dotton still on 30, Knight on 26, and the partnership now with 46. Some
big applause, I think,
from some of the fans
for the good over for the partnership of 46. I'm not sure exactly what it was for, but it's very nice to see at least some crowd back in the stadiums again.
Yeah, a couple of people hanging out in the
hospitality.
Yes, the hospitality in the memorial stand. Looks like they're hanging out there. Don't forget, you can tweet us at OneWorldSR, and we will be happy to share your thoughts with the world. Tumi Sekakune in, and it's full and straight. There's a massive shot from Trisha Chetty, but Sekakune just holds her hand over her mouth. Chris, what do you think? Maybe a bit of an inside edge there?
Yeah, I mean, we're at such a distance here that there's a reason the umpire's on the field rather than up here. I think they have a much better view. We're at a slight angle, but I'll agree with umpire on field and say probably not out for whatever reason.
Yeah, umpire Kuma, well over 100 first-class games. She's in again, is Tumi Sekakune. This is just driven off the back foot to the cover region and cleaned up nicely by Nadine de Klerk. Rather, looks like that's Tasman Brits out there. She's done the fielding, and they cross over for 1, 66 for 1. And this is the final game of the 4-match one-day international series, brought to you by One World Sports Radio. This is full and defended. Big stride in there from Deandra Dotton after the bowling of Sekakune. So, Chris, these ladies will then head out to the World Cup in New Zealand, the same place where the men are playing their 2-match test series.
Right. So I think just because strict COVID protocols, I don't think they'll be interacting a huge amount whilst they're there. All it does mean is that we'll be up nice and early for most of February and March.
Tumi Sekakune just pulling out of that one, just hanging on to the ball. And umpire Kulma says, no ball bowled. Not a no ball, but no ball was bowled. Dead ball. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, the 16th of February is when the men's first test gets underway. Right arm over the wicket, Sekakune. Just defended by Dotson, applauded by her wicketkeeper behind the stumps. 2-match test series, and then we get the Women's World Cup almost immediately after that. I think it's a 10-day quarantine period, and that's why the men have left so early, as will the women leave so early, because not only do they have the World Cup, but they've got warm-up games before that and a quarantine period, and so...
Yeah, so they're leaving just about a month before the tournament actually gets underway.
This one is a length delivery on off stump, and Dotton just drives that out to the fielder at the cover boundary, and the sweeper does the collection work. 1 run there, 67 for 1, and 1 ball remaining in this over.
You think all the teams will be doing it, but quite a few pros to getting out there that early and acclimatizing to New Zealand.
Yeah, I think it's just such a contrast from the South African summer. Sekakune, right arm over the wicket, and this one is just pushed away off the knee of Knight to square leg on the bounce, and they don't consider a run. 15 gone, 67 for 1. Dotton on 31, Knight on 27, and the partnership 2 away now from that 50 mark. But yeah, Chris, I mean, if we have a look at kind of temperatures in New Zealand over the next, whatever the weather is in New Zealand at the moment, I think, we can say that it's certainly not what the South Africans and the West Indians have been experiencing in this series, barring today, really.
Yeah, that we spoke about it off air, the fact that they've chosen the best day so far of the series to have the black kit game, because I think just a high of 24 expected today. Can't imagine what it would be like wearing those black uniforms on on Thursday or any of the other days this week where it snuck into the 30s.
Absolutely. Sine Lewis, first ball of her new over. It's a great bit of fielding from Mignon de Pree. She gets a rapturous applause there. She's is that Mignon de Pree or have they changed? They have changed. Mignon not there. It's like Andre Steyn. That's a great bit of fielding there. She's just throwing her body around and stopped a certain single there. Lewis in again, and this is floated in full. Not able to find the gap is Deandra Dotton. Done the fielding once again. St. Louis getting through her over quickly as well here. 2 balls in, and she's bowling really well. She's in again, and this one is a ball that looks like Dotton tries to get quite a large stride in to defend, and just snuffs that one out and thinks about a drop and go, but Tricia Tetty was onto her like a flash. Lewis in again now from the call it drive in, passing umpire Harris. This one is just cut pretty straight, not as square as you would imagine, but certainly down towards the sweeper at the cover boundary. And Tryon does the field, and they get through for 168 for 1. 2 balls remaining in this over, and there's a change of field. So we see long on going back, as well as deep square for the left-handed Kaisia Knight. And again, this one's full toss, and she just bunts that down the ground, does Knight, and she gets 1. And there's 1 ball remaining in the over. 69 for 1, and the partnership 50 up.
And I think with that, Knight also goes to 100 runs in the series. So a couple of milestones. Just the 4th batter so far in the series to reach 100. The 2nd for the West Indies after Deandra Dotton, who's got well more than 100 runs.
Wonderfully bowled, that follow-up delivery from Sine Lewis. It's absolutely beaten Deandra Dotton. All ends up, but it's beaten everything, including the edge of the bat. And so that concludes the 16th over, 69 for 1, and time for a bit of a drinks break. We were talking about the weather in New Zealand. The weather in Auckland today, Chris, comparatively is not far from the high in Johannesburg, but the difference is that it's 94% rain, a 94% chance of rain. So I don't think they would have gotten a game of cricket in today if the series were to be held there.
Yeah, I can't even pretend to be an expert on South African weather, let alone the New Zealand weather and what that's going to look like in March. I'm sure we'll get Simon on to explain all the intricacies of New Zealand weather when he's on comms later.
Yes, all of the secrets. But yes, it's a marvelous day here at the Imperial Wanderers, and the crucial thing, Chris, is that after the absolute bucketing of rain on Friday and Saturday, we're getting cricket underway.
And also a testament, I guess, to Wanderers' drainage, because I've driven past a couple of schools this morning, and they still seem to have flooded fields.
Yeah, it's just a world-class facility here. And it's not like the outfield has slowed 1 iota, because a couple of those cover drives, you would have thought maybe they would have plugged a little bit in the outfield, but not to be the case. This carpet is immaculate, and congratulations to Evan and his team who have prepared the wickets here for this series. So the women, they begin against Bangladesh at the World Cup, and Chris, it could be a banana peel before you even realize it.
Yeah, I don't want to even address those sort of things. I do think this is one of the better chances we've had at a World Cup in a while. Obviously, the loss of Danae van Niekerk with her ankle issue is a bit of a big one, but South Africa's still got a very strong team, and perhaps they can be the banana peel for some of the favourites like Australia and England.
Yeah, absolutely. The Australian women really doing very well at the moment, and they're kind of that team that has star power. You think of Alyssa Healy and Elise Perry are 2 big names we think of in women's cricket, but South Africa have stars of their own in Marizanne Cup and the ODI player of the year, Lizelle Lee.
Yeah, I think one of the differences ends up being is maybe a few more stars in that Australian side, where they are strong all the way through from 1 to 11. I mean, we saw the fact that they were able to leave Elise Perry out for a game during the Women's Ashes is a testament to the depth that they have at the moment.
Absolutely, and I think that's it sticks out in terms of pundits having a look at pre-World Cup squads and who's your favorite here and there. But like you said, banana peel teams or dark horses, beware, because anything can happen in World Cup.
Yeah, it's a bit of a banana peel of a name, but the 2020 T20 Women's World Cup. South Africa were very nearly the side to upset Australia. Very close game there. Unfortunately, ended up on the losing side. Rain getting in the way a little bit of the South Africans.
South African rain at World Cups. I mean, how many times do we have to? I feel like, it's just our luck in life that we're going to get our challenges with rain. But we're back from the drinks break, and looks like there might be a change of bowling here. I'll just confirm that in a moment. Whether or not Tumiseka Kunia will continue. But Shabnam Ismail's just guiding. Looks like Ayabonga Kaka is going to begin a new over from the golf course end. She has bowled 3 overs just for 7, so she's kept things really tight. But as captain, Chris, Sonelos is going to be is going to have to keep an eye on her balancing of when to bowl bowlers, because you want to make sure that you're keeping track of things in terms of the end of the innings as well. So it's a balancing act. Always everybody in the ring, barring fine leg. Kaka in, and that one just goes down to fine leg.
Also the fielder down there, the third man region. So both fielders outside the ring are behind the batter.
Yes, she was hiding. Chloe was hiding behind my laptop here. See, the screen in front of me is deceptive. Thank you, Chris, for keeping us on a 70 up, and it's just for the loss of that 1 wicket of Williams.
Nearly a couple more. South Africa's obviously had a couple of half chances. There was that very first delivery to Deandra Darton. No DRS here, so we'll never really know if that was RBW. And then she was also dropped off the bowling of Kaka on 11.
Yeah, it was a caught and bowled opportunity for Ayabonga Kaka. This one is full and just defended into the wicket. And Sonellis does the fielding at short cover and practices her bowling to Shabnam Ismail. This series is perfectly poised, and it's always a thing when it comes to the Wanderers, always providing world-class games at the back end of a series. Ooh. This one is smashed, and an opportunity to take a catch at mid-on, and it looks like Nadine de Klerk is the one who was unfortunately not able to take that. It was a really hard.
Difficult catch where she was having to dive forward to get it, and those are often the worst. You're thinking about your teeth as you're going forward, but in the end, it just bobbled out. So I guess another chance. We'll write that one down in the books exactly. It's two drops now for Deandra Darton.
Yeah, this one is a length delivery, just punched away off the back foot, squared the wicket on the offside, but Volfart does the fielding, and she doesn't think about a run, does Deandra Darton. Yeah, it was one of those that she looked like she hit it quite hard with quite hard hands. That's the word I'm looking for. But it was just a mistimed punch, and Nadine de Klerk not parching that one.
And difficult to think of a batter you'd want to drop less than
Deandra Darton. Kaisia Knight sent back quickly. It was a foolish delivery and just punched to a cow corner in the ring, but it was immediately snapped up by Steyn, and that means de Klerk, for the last ball here of this over, will go down to long on. This one is full, and there's a mistimed shot here. I don't think she's gotten all of that. It kind of was bunted away, but off of something soft. It almost looked like there was maybe pad on it, or just something didn't look happy. Anyway, 17 gone, 70 for 1. Darton on 32. Knight on 29 in this partnership, grinding to a halt at 51 rate. Achieved is 4.1. Chris, they've really done a good job here. Have the South Africans to squeeze the Windies batters.
Definitely. Obviously, they'll still be looking for that wicket. These are the 2 biggest batters, the most successful batters so far in the series for the West Indies. Ayabonga Kaka did seem like a good option in that last over. She has been a wicket-taking option throughout the series, and in this game, she's been able to keep it tight as well.
Pressure always means that you're hopeful of a wicket and you're likely to take one. This one is floated. Good bit of air there from Sonellis, and it's just defended from the pads of Kaisia Knight. Loose in again, right on over the wicket from the corner drive in. This is much better in her lines. She's bowled it at the middle and off, and Knight just defends that one into the offside, no run. So 2 dots to begin. Can she string 3 together? Loose in again, and this was much fuller. excuse me, she defends that one, does Kasia Knight, and it's 3 dots in a row, and things start to build up. Crucially for South Africa, they're keeping these two quiet. This one's a little bit shorter and tucked away off the hips of Kasia Knight, and they get through for 1 to the square leg region. 71 for 1. 2 balls remaining in the 18th. Dotton on 32, Knight on 30. 52 the partnership now. And the run rate drops to 4. Sane Lewis in again, Wabald. That is much better line and length from the South African skipper. She obviously prefers to bowl to the right-handers as opposed to the lefties, and just defended. Final ball of the over, 18th over now. Right arm over the wicket, and this is just short. Kind of drops the bat on it, does Deandra Dotton, just to go out to a short third. And it's a dot ball there. So end of the over, 71 for 1, 18 gone, 32 for Dotton, 30 for Kasia Knight, the partnership with 52. And the only wicket to have fallen this morning, Chris, was Williams, who has had a howler of a series. She's really not enjoyed life. It was 3 ones in a row, and then she got 6 today before being bowled.
Yeah, so I guess she can half treat that as a success. You almost feel like when a batter has that run of form, then once they get past that first boundary, they're going to go on to get a few more. Unfortunately, not the case for Williams in this series.
Absolutely. Kaka from the golf course in right on over. And it's a lovely length from Iwanga Kaka, just on off stump. And just defended there by Kasia. Now she thinks about a pull shot. But in her shadow follow through, when batters, play the shot that they would have hoped to have hit, but I think it was a little bit too wide. Remember the right-hander going across the left-hander, which means Kaka is going to lad wide of the stumps. This one's in again and defended on the front foot, and good bit of support here from her teammates is Iwanga Kaka. She's conceded 8 from her 4.2 overs, really going cheaply. That's exactly what you want from your premier fast bowler.
Yeah, the Rashada Williams story, I guess it's a bit unfortunate. She played very well when South Africa were in the West Indies with a 37, a 42, and then a high score of 78 in that series.
Kaka in again, and this one is fuller, and just a mistimed shot there from Knight. She had the bat turn in her hands, and that's why it didn't go very far in the run.
So she had a good start to her career because that was just the second series that she played for the West Indies. But now this series, she came into it with a batting average of 27 and leaves it with a batting average of 19.
It's never enjoyable as a batter when you're going through a difficult patch. Change in the field, a short, the fielder was behind square on the offside now goes into the covers. Kaka in again, and this one goes exactly where she would have been. Fielding now for Laura Volfart, backward point. She just moves around, and they get through for a quick single. And umpire Harris receives from umpire Tuma the peace sign of 2 balls left in the over, 72 for 1, and the partnership on 53. Don't forget, you can tweet us at OneWorldSR. Have your thoughts heard? We are on onewsr.com. We're on TuneIn. We're on the cricket.co.za/live platform. So if you go to Cricket South Africa's website, you'll see there's a player there, and you'll hear our golden voices. And we will be with you for the entirety of this game. Kaka in again. This is full and punched hard by Deandra Dotton, but she stopped it. Well played there. From good cricket all around, really.
Yeah. No, very well stopped. That came like a bullet at her.
Absolutely. And so we're going to be with you for this game. And we will be back as well with you on the Cricket South Africa platform, no doubt, for the Bangladesh series, in which the men take on the Bangladesh team at home. Kaka in to Dotton, and that's just defended off the back foot square of the wicket, and Volfart cleans up, no run. And that is the end of the 19th. So 19 gone, 72 for 1, partnership 53. And Chris, we've gone from 5.5 to 3.8. How much do you think that'll be worrying these two batters?
I guess a lot of cricket left to play. They're happy that they're still out there and just 1 wicket down. We've seen how quickly this West Indies team's able to score at times. So I think if they know they have wickets in the bank, they trust themselves to bat quickly enough in the second half of the innings. But yeah, last 5 overs, just 7 runs off them. gives an idea of how much the runs have dried up.
Absolutely. Loose for her 5th over. That's a well bowled there. She thinks about a quick one, does Knight, but her options have been snuffed out, stopped, halted immediately. Loose, and again, right arm over the wicket, passing umpire Harris. Oh, it's a little bit too much flight. There's a full toss. She's gotten away with something there. That was hit quite hard. You would have imagined that were it not for the Nadine de Klerk, or not for Nadine de Klerk at long on, that she might have thought about going to that region. Lewis just thinks about that one and doesn't bowl it. Hits the handbrake. She's in again now, passing the stumps. A bit of width there. It's cut. It's caught the outside edge, and it's gone to where a conventional first slip would be. They're going to get 4 here. I think it's just beating the fielder to the boundary there. Valiant attempt there at what would be essentially a very fine third, or even a backstop, but not to be. And South Africa's captain can only put her hands on her head and say, so nearly, and why didn't I have a slip in? 76 for 1, halfway through the 20th. 32 for Darton, 35 for Knight, the partnership, 57.
So that's the highest partnership between Darton and Cassia Knight in all the matches that they've played together.
That one's just pushed out square to the wicket, no run.
But only the second highest average between Darton and someone named Kay Knight, because obviously Cassia's twin sister, Kishon, has also played for the West Indies and has managed to put together a partnership in the 70s.
Loose in again, and that one's just outside of stump and turning back into the left hander, and all she can do is to squeeze it out and prevent it from going through the gate. No run. Well bowled here by Sinead Lewis. Just 12 from her nearly 5 overs. 1 ball, and she's bowled a full toss, and it's banged back into the ground. She does the fielding with her own bowling, tosses the ball to umpire Harris and says, I'm off to go field. 20 overs gone, 76 for 1. 32 for Darton, 35 for Knight. Sinead Lewis, 5 overs, 0 for 12. And her partner at the other end, Aibonga Kaka, 5 overs, 0 for 9. Do you think they're going to persist with Aibonga Kaka here, Chris?
Well, she was economical all throughout. And she also did have that half chance, that drop at mid-on. It would make sense to me, but it doesn't look like it is a plan. It looks like Shabnam Ismail might be coming back into the attack.
Shabnam Ismail is the only one to have picked up a wicket this morning. She's got 1 for 18 in her 4. So you might imagine just a 2-over burst, quick one here will be the order of the day. And she's only had the 3 fours hit off of it. It was a period in which the West Indies were going along very nicely, but not the case at the moment with the South Africans squeezing things. 3.8 to the over. There's 1 fielder out at mid-wicket, 1 at long on. And again, Shabnam Ismail, it's a wild swipe from Deandra Darton, but I think it's just caught in the pad or something like that, where she's trying to drive a length delivery, but no dice for her there.
And picked up by the batter as well. I don't know if you remember, but it always, whenever I see that, it reminds me of when the South African under-19 men's side played against the West Indies. And the wicketkeeper peeled when the South African batter picked it up, and it was given. And I think that was pretty controversial at the time, and still controversial in my mind.
Full ball from Shabnam Ismail. It's just driven down to long on by Deandra Darton, and they get through for 1. 77 for 1. And at the end of this over, you're going to have a commentary change. It's the legends pairing of Lerato Malikoto and Simon Weatherman gear. I'm sure he'll tell you all about Auckland weather and why there's so much rain there. I don't know. He'll tell you. It's all about geography and climatology and clouds and stuff. But the legends pairing will be on after this over. 4 balls remaining in this over. Shabnam Ismail, right arm over the wicket. She passes umpire Tilman. Now it's full and defended well by Cassia Knight. No run there on offer for her. 58 the partnership, but crucially, Chris, it's that run rate that's gone down quite a bit in the last 5-10 overs that we've seen from these two. They've been struggling to put away the South African skipper in tandem with the strike bowlers for this Proteas women's team. Shabnam Ismail over the wicket again, and that one just jumps a little bit more than Kasia Knight would have liked, but she's able to steer it to a short third, and they get through for 178 for 1 now, and that gets Kasia Knight to 36.
And yeah, depending on how this over goes, it looks like it's set to be 10 consecutive overs with no more than 4 runs scored off any of them.
It shows how the South Africans have squeezed. We came in commentary and we said South Africa need to squeeze, and they've done exactly that.
Although the very first ball that we saw was
a massive six. Yeah, sure. We had to get into the rhythm of things. This one's over pitched and punched down the ground, and Dalton's only going to get 1 there, as there is a fielding at long on. 1 ball remaining in the 21st. We just had to get into the rhythm of things, and then we've kept things quiet. Hopefully, the Legends team after us can pick up a couple of sticks here on the back of our pressure. 1 ball remaining in this over. Everybody in the ring, barring 3 out. Third, fine leg, and sweeper on the cover region. He comes now, passing the umpire. This is looked like it caught the outside half of the bat. Goes down to third, and there's just 1 run there. So 21 overs gone, 80 for 1. Dotton's on 34. Kasia Knight on 37. The partnership with 61. They're going at 3.8 to the over, and the only wickets to have fallen so far is that of Williams. She was gone for 6 after chopping on of a Shabnam Ismail delivery. I'm going to hand over to the legend himself, Simon, here, and he'll be joined by Lerato Malekuto. Simon, well bowled by these two, because they've actually just squeezed everything that they could from these West Indian batters.
Indeed, when I saw that first big straight 6 from Deandra Dotton on the very first ball of Tumiseka Kunes over to start the end of the power play, I really thought it was going to be a bloodbath. Sune Luce is resuming from the call-it drive end. It's just tucked into the onside. They jog through for a single. The score is 81 for 1. My name is Simon Gear. With me is Lerato. Are we calling you Zonia? Are we calling Malekut? Looping delivery by Sune Luce, played into the offside by the right-handed Dotton, and they just jog through for a single. Chloe Triumph down there at the sweeper. It's been a surprisingly quiet period these last 10 overs.
Absolutely. Sune Luce has bowled really well for her 5 overs, starting her 6th. She didn't bowl in the last match.
Didn't she really? I hadn't noticed that, as Knight just skips down the wicket here. They have a bit of a shy at the non-strikers end. What happened is she pushed it out into the offside, and Shibi Ishmael came steaming in from point.
That would have been close if there was a direct
It would have been
hit.
very, very close if there had been. But it was good running by the West Indian ladies. They really just put their heads down and went for it. And in the end, just another single, 82 for 1. 83 for 1 rather, as Dotton knocks this into the offside. It's collected by, is that Tasman Brits down there at the mid-off, I think? Yes, it is. Number 1, Tasman Brits, and no run. So now he's really getting through her overs. I can't even give you a word in edgeways here, Lerato, as she loops this. And a forward defensive, which I think misses everything, goes through to Trish Chetty, no run.
Absolutely. Like I said, she didn't bowl in the last match. She often brings herself a lot later on in the match. And for me, she's really a power player. She often comes in, either restricts the total or gets the batters to make a mistake.
Indeed, another slow looping delivery and just dropped into the offside. Laura Wolfart will have a bit of a shy at the non-strikers end here, and again doesn't make contact. And so that is the end of the over. 22 overs gone, 84 for 1. A run rate achieved of just 3.8. But this partnership going along very, very nicely with 65 now.
Definitely. I think these two realized how it's not only just about the power hitting, but getting those singles, rotating the strike. ODI cricket is a long game. We saw them, Laura Wolfart, mentioned in the last match how it was important for them to take it long, take it deep. And these two are showing that. And once West Indies have wickets in hand, it can be really destructive at the end.
I was a little bit surprised by Laura. I mean, I loved watching her century on Thursday. But she got to 100 and then really tried to absolutely start thrashing the ball. And it would have been quite, I think she got to about 113 before she was out. Shibi Ishmael into the attack, running towards us from the golf course end and defended back down the pitch by Dotton, and no run.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, also Chloe Trine was also at the other end. She hit 40 off 20-odd balls. So there was still that attacking play at the other end, it's not like she was the only one who needed to make that play. But it's definitely a little bit out of character.
I think it was obviously they decided, get your 100, get into the last 10 overs and then have a thrash. As Ishmael is back of the length, and it is just slapped by Dotton straight to the fielder at cover. I think that was Mignon de Prairie who took the catch. Low down, almost putting in the long barrier, getting sideways, low down, just above the turf. And it was hit straight at her. That is the end of Deandra Dotton. I think a huge moment here in the game for South Africa.
Absolutely. She's been dropped 3 times already now in this match. And finally, Ishmael gets that breakthrough. This is an important wicket for her. We know how she can, change the course of any match if she gets in. So this is big for the Proteas.
Absolutely huge. So Deandra Dotton, 36 runs of 63 balls. She hit 3 fours and that one towering 6 that went into the centenary stand at the golf course end. And the partnership now ends at 65. Phenomenal partnership to just try and steady the ship after the West Indies lost that early wicket of Williams. But such an important breakthrough for South Africa.
Absolutely, and you saw it with the captain's field changes. Her bowling changes. Ishmael came in very early after her first spell, and the captain saw that she needed to get that wicket to break that important partnership. Because after that, there were a few more changes in, and a lot more inexperienced batters coming through.
Exactly. The new batter in is Hayley Matthews. She is going to be taking strike, a very tall figure of a woman, and she is going to be facing a fairly defensive field, 2 boundary riders behind the wicket, but otherwise everyone just lurking on the ring as Shibby Ishmael comes in right arm over, and it's driven straight away to the fielder, who in fact we never actually got to the bottom of who took that catch. Is it Sine Luce who's in that position? It is indeed. It was Sine, and that was driven straight back to Sine. So she's fielded twice in 2 balls.
Absolutely. We know Matthews is also one of their form players. She's one who plays the long game. She does it. She builds her innings really patiently, but always, comes through for her team in this important role.
Shibby again just bangs it in, and it's played off the hips by Matthews, but straight to the fielder at square leg, who is Audrey Steyn, and they don't take a run. 84 for 2 now. What's the plan here, Lorata? They've lost their talismanic opener. How are West Indies going to post a decent total?
I think they really shouldn't lose focus of, just being patient, absorbing that early, as you're building that partnership pressure, and then rotating that strike. We've seen with Kaisia Knight at the crease, she's been very good at rotating the strike, getting the singles, and as a left-hand batter, coming in and sort of destabilizing the bowler's plans. So for me, it's taking those singles, finding those bad balls, and really just being patient with the way you build the innings.
Back of a leg from Shibby Ashmiller, and Knight has a flash at this, or Matthews rather, has a flash at this away from her body, not patient at all, as Lorato was saying. It flew through the vacant slip area, and unfortunately, Tumiseka Kune misfielding down at fine leg and allowing it to go through for 4. Shibby Ishmael now for the final ball of her over, and again, back of the length. There's a bit of an appeal from Trisha Chetty, but I'm sure was too high. That is the end of that over. An unfortunate 4, but a massive success for South Africa.
Absolutely. You could almost see the body language is perked up a bit from the Proteas. They know the importance of that wicket. That partnership seemed to be getting a little bit away from them, but Ishmael, the strike bowler that she is, has really come through for the team at this important time.
Right, so Sine Luce is going to continue, having taken the catch in the previous innings, in the previous over rather. She is 0 for 16 of her 6. Very good figures indeed, at a time when it looked like the Windies were going to run away with us. And part of that Shibby wicket was definitely her doing, the pressure that she's built, but she bowls absolute dross to Knight here, a looping full toss, and just slapped away through the mid-wicket boundary for 4.
You could hear the echo of the sweet spot of the ball hitting the sweet spot of the bat there. She just absolutely hammered that to that cover boundary.
I mean, that is the sort of ball that you toss up to your 3-year-old when you're teaching them with those yellow plastic bats. better ball this time, which does actually decide to use the pitch, and it's just defended into the offside, no run.
She'll be fancying herself here. She was getting a bit of purchase. It was turning away from the right-handers, and she just lands it in the right areas. She could be in the money here with Knight.
She does indeed. Another good ball. That one dipped a bit on Knight, and you could see her getting ready to smack it again, thinking she was going to get another full toss. But then it dipped and pitched just in front of her. No run. 92 for 2, 23.3 gone. Loose in again from the quarter drive in, driven back to her. She makes a tumbling stop off her own bowling. No run.
Back to that total. I mean, we saw in the last match, South Africa getting 299 on the same wicket that we're playing on today. Was a great effort by the Proteas.
Was indeed, and it really put scoreboard pressure as this is worked around the corner, and Knight just jogs through. That takes her through to 44. Matthews will face the final ball of the over. She's taking a leg stump guard, it looks like, from umpire Steve Harris. And she will be facing up with the only two boundary runners. There's a deep extra cover, and there's a deep mid wicket. Cow corner, as they call it. Here comes loose. Shorter ball, and Matthews shapes up to really smash it. Doesn't get any of it, actually. I think it was slower than she was expecting, and lands up just dinking it straight back to Sine Loose. That is the end of the over. 24 overs gone, 93 for 2.
Yeah, but so back to that, a good first innings total. I would say 250 would be where they would be comfortable with. So the West Indies have been known in the recent records. They haven't really been consistent in putting up good, dominating performances. They're often in the late 180s, early 220. So I think for the coach and the team, certainly, around 250 would be a good score for them.
Look, that 199, that 299 was an exceptional performance by South Africa. So I would say once the West Indies can get past 220, they'll certainly feel they're in the game. And 250, I think they would generally back themselves to win far more often than they would lose. 250 is very seldom not a winning total in women's ODIs.
Absolutely.
We'll change about it. So we've had the one over from Shibi Ishmael, where she got the wicket. So Nadine de Klerk is going to come in. She was hammered a little bit in her first couple of overs. Went for 19 runs. Number of fours driven through the covers on either side of Adri Steyn. Here she comes from the golf course end, and a shorter ball that dies on the keeper a little bit and goes through for no run.
She was just searching a little bit for that early, swing, at the beginning of the innings, and she just missed her lines and her lengths, and the West Indies batters just capitalized, and she just kept repeating the same mistakes. You saw Ishmael coming to speak to her as well during the over, just trying to get her to recollect her
shorter ball. It's driven straight to Ayakaka at mid-off, and it's spilt. That is not a good piece of fielding. That's a regulation catch at this level, and she didn't get her body behind it. She was trying to take it sort of to the side of her right hip, so it wasn't underneath her eyes, and she'll feel incensed about that.
No, that was a regulation catch. Like you said, those are the ones you practice day in, day out at fielding. But it's funny that, de Klerk dropped a similar catch of Kaka when Dotton was batting earlier on in the match.
Yeah, cold comfort, I think. It really was poor fielding. She was technically wrong in how she tried to take that catch.
She was also very wide in that mid-on.
Yeah, I mean, it went straight to her. She didn't have to move. Well, she should have taken a step to her right. I think that's the problem. And her body language straight away looking regretful. The third ball of the over just tucked off her hips by Matthews, and she will jog through for a single. The score now 95 for 2. Matthews is on 5. Knight is on 45, having survived that chance. And I hope the Proteas are not going to rue those.
Absolutely. Knight has really raced to 45, and quietly so. Like you said, similar to how she batted on Thursday, just easy singles where she can, and just pouncing on those boundary balls too.
A shorter ball, and Knight reaching for it a bit outside the off stump. I thought she had got an edge there for a moment, but through to Chetty, no run.
It certainly looked like it had dipped going through to Chetty there.
It did. It lost a lot of speed, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Nadine de Klerk certainly not one of the paciest bowlers, but Chetty's still standing a fair distance back. She comes in again, right arm over. That's in that channel and just left well alone by Knight. Better sort of shot, actually, rather than trying to reach for it and go through to the keeper, no run.
Absolutely. Certainly a change in strategy from de Klerk. She was trying to go a lot full and straight earlier on in her first spell, but now she's touching that off stump where Knight is very strong.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect. Just keeping it wide, making right a Knight guard and reach for it. And again in that channel, and Knight has a bit of a spar at it. Oh, the hands go on the heads from de Klerk. She will feel that she deserved a wicket in that over and didn't unfortunately get one. 95 for 2.
Absolutely. No, this was a better performance from her. And she should have got a wicket, but Mother Cricket, as we know, always has the final say. And no doubt Kaka will be disappointed with that fielding effort.
Yeah, she will. I mean, she's generally fairly safe in the field. Certainly not one of the gun fielders in the 11, but she's no mug. And my great concern there is that it was a technically poor effort. If you have sometimes situations, particularly with Deandra Dotton batting, where she just smashes it so hard at you, like we saw with Mlamba a couple of nights ago, and it just goes straight through your hands. I'm generally willing to forgive those, but where you just get your body in the wrong position. I don't know whether maybe she was drifting a bit, so that sort of suddenly got big on
it. It did seem like that. It really did.
Right, well, it is going to be Sine to continue from the quarter drive end. This is wide outside the off stump and signalled wide by umpire Stephen Harris. And she'll have to bowl that one again. So 25 overs gone, halfway, 96 for 2. Here comes Sine. Right arm over the wicket to the left-hander. To the right-hander, sorry. And not a great ball, but left low. So short and turning away. And Matthews decided not to have a go at that.
Yeah, that would have been again with her leg side stance. She really opens herself up.
Floated this time up and knocked into the offside. It's going to run through to Chloe Tryon at that sweeper. So just the single. Now I think you're quite right. She was shaping to hit it into the leg side, and then it turned quite viciously away from her, and she just wasn't in the right position to play it. Right, so the left-handed Knight, she's on 45, and she is going to be facing Sine, who right arm over, bowls a very good ball, drifting it, and quite full and just defended into the offside, no run.
Sensible cricket all round, eh, Simon?
No, it is. It's an intriguing portion of the game here. Again, looped and driven back to Sine Lees. The West Indies do need to start getting a move on, but they also cannot afford to lose too many more wickets.
Absolutely, and they've lost quite a chunk of their batting lineup without Taylor or Nation lower down the order.
Knocked into the onside, they are going to be able to come through for a single here, and that takes them through to 98 for 2, with one ball remaining in the 26th over. So if you double this and add 20 or 30, I suppose is probably reasonable. So 220, 230 is sort of par, maybe a little bit light, as she just knocks it into the offside, no run.
It's definitely a lot cooler today. The humidity on Thursday, we had a lot of the players struggling. You could see the West Indies bowlers were flat in their second, third spells. It was really, really taxing. Laura Wolford also spoke about how tough it was with the heat, putting together that innings, having to really dig deep. So the players are feeling a lot better today.
Yeah, I was sitting up in the memorial stand a little earlier. There's actually a fair crowd up there now. There's maybe not quite 100 people, maybe 80 odd people sitting in that stand. It's the only portion of the ground that seems to have been open for visitors. But really, really nice to see a lot of the clubs have taken up sort of 10 tickets each, and so a lot of the Jeppy girls were there. I've seen a number of the Randburg girls, the Wanderers girls are sitting all up there as well, really taking advantage of seeing some cricket today on a rather chilly sunny day. Right, Nadine de Klerk to continue, and regular service resumes with her in that channel outside the left-handers off stump, no run.
The Proteas bowlers has been a lot more disciplined in this performance today. We saw a lot of extras being bowled on Thursday, and that's really not what you need for a top tier team. You know, I think the bowling coach would have had a few words there.
Yeah, something like 19 extras or something ridiculous, wasn't it? Today just 4, and Senelius has put herself into slip for Nadine de Klerk, which is, I think, good news because she's beaten the bat a couple of times. Outside the off stump, it is slashed at, and it was still in the air as it went through where a gully would have been. But a reasonably safe shot given the field, and they just go through for a single. 99 for 2 now, Knight to 47.
There's a good attacking play by the captain. I think they've seen how Knight likes to pounce, if anything, on the offside, and that's where Nadine's channel seems to be. So any wicket-taking opportunity, the captain seems to be pouncing on.
Right, it will be the right-handed Hayley Matthews to face, banged in by de Klerk. That goes down the leg side, misfielded by Trish Chetty, and they're going to run through for 2 as well. It will also be signalled a wide by Babs Kuma, who is the umpire at the golf course end. And so that takes the extras through to 7 now after that 3. And it brings the West Indies 100 up, 102 from 99 minutes at a run rate of under 4 runs and over.
Absolutely. Been a bit of a more conservative approach by the West Indies. We know them to get off to flying starts there.
That's also resulted in a change in field. The slippers vanished, and Trish Chetty has come up to stand at the stumps for Nadine de Klerk.
Interesting that her coming up to the stumps for Chetty. Certainly, probably seeing how Matthews likes to open up a bit, trying to keep her safely in her crease.
Yeah, keeping her honest. Nadine de Klerk is again too straight and just worked off her hips. But Chloe Tryon will be able to come round and collect it at that fine leg region, and they jog through for a single. Matthews to 7, Knight is on 47, and the score 103 for 2.
Obviously, coming in next is Mangru, who's making her debut. So again, that emphasizes how important this partnership is for the West Indies if they're trying to get to that total above 200.
Yeah, so they are actually going to bring. They're keeping the slip in place for Knight. And so although Trish Chetty is still standing up to the stumps, Senelius is far, far too close at first slip. I'm going to tell you that. I'll describe that in a moment. As de Klerk is back of a length and knocked into the offsides where Laura Wolfart does the fielding. They go through for a single, 104 for 2. So it's very, very important at first slip that you still stand where you would have if the keeper wasn't standing up. And if you think how far back Trish was when Nadine is normally bowling, Senelius was a good 3 or 4 strides further up than that. Yeah. Nadine de Klerk, and again from the golf course end, back of a length and just defended into the offside, no run.
Absolutely, great observation there, Simon.
It is a tricky one because you feel odd about it. You feel a lot further back as a slipper when your keeper's standing up. But obviously, the ball's going to come just as quickly to you. The rule is, as a bowler, is that if your keeper chooses to stand up, you don't change how you bowl. You certainly don't bowl any slower. You back the keeper to be good enough, but your slips are not. They don't have the protective equipment, and they're not going to have the reaction time if they're standing that far, that further up.
Absolutely. Looks like we've got a bowling change here, or is Suneli still going to be continuing from the caller drive in? We see Chloe just rolling her shoulder off. She bowled really well on Thursday. She's coming back from injury as well. Hasn't got a lot of overs under the belt for the Proteas recently, and getting those 2 wickets, in a very crucial run chase would have been very important and good for her confidence.
Well, indeed. There is just a brief drinks break at the moment. Nadine de Klerk changing her boots as well. Interesting moment as Trish was walking back to her mark. Shibi Ishmael came and sort of put her arm around her, showed a bit of affection, and they sort of had quite a tender moment. And I mean, we all know that there are various partners, within this squad. But it's very rare to actually see a sweet moment shared by a couple on the field.
Absolutely. I certainly haven't seen Marizan Carpenter and Vanika.
I think they're terrified of each other on the field. Certainly everyone's scared of Dane. And
Absolutely.
I think Marizan gets white line fever as well.
Yes, no, definitely. So that was definitely very sweet to see.
Right, so it is going to be Chloe Tran. She is coming left arm over the wickets to the left-hander and defended into the offside. She does the fielding of her own bowling. And no run off at 104 for 2.
It's great to see how the all-round options for South Africa have come in and really also performed very well with the ball.
It's important. Chloe and again and angling this one into the left-handed knight and no run. I see, is this Ntozaka down here at Madoff rather? Oh no, it's Masabata class. So someone is off. We'll have to figure that out for you. Again, just faster ball by Chloe Tran, just defended into the offside, no run.
And as the batting all-rounder that Chloe is, if she can come in, with a few overs with the ball, really hold it up, put some pressure on, and where she can get some wickets, it's absolute gold for the captain and her team.
Trying to figure out who's off the field here. I can't see Tasman Brits. Unless Brits is at... Yeah, I think Brits might be off. Left arm again, and it just hit straight at point, straight to Shibi Ishmael, and Knight is distraught. She's down on her haunches. It was a full ball, and she had a go at it, I think trying to hit it probably a bit straighter, outside half of the bat, and just straight to Shibi Ishmael, takes a good catch, low down, and that is the end of Kasia Knight, caught by Ishmael, bowled by Tran, 48 runs of 76 balls. Oh, she'll be disappointed.
Oh, sheer disappointment. Look at how slowly she's walking off the field. It's hanging her head. I think she knows that was not the shot for that ball. She's played extremely well, absorbed the pressure early on in the innings and really, crafted this 48 of hers in an expert manner, and she'll be disappointed not to have kicked on for that 50 and even further on to give the team a good platform.
Incidentally, it is Brits who's off. She's sat down and has one of her boots off. Is actually showing Lizelle Lee something that she's pulled out of her boot. I'm sure Lizelle is thrilled to be given that level of personal detail about Tasman Brits' life. And she doesn't look like she's in pain. I think there was something obviously bothering her and she needed to go off and sort it out. So hopefully she will be fine to bat a little later. Right, the new batter in is Campbell. We've seen her quite a lot this tour, and she will be facing the bowling of Chloe Tran, who has had success in the first 4 balls that she's delivered. Tran is going to be left arm around the wicket to the right-hander, straight away just defended, no run.
Absolutely, Campbell. She hasn't really kicked on this series. She's come in, has a couple of runs to her name, but hasn't really played an innings that has, made a mark on this series. So she'll be looking for this opportunity.
She's the keeper, of course, for the West Indies, Shemaine Campbell, and slaps this through the offside. Nadine de Klerk will collect, and they just jog through for a single. She gets off the mark. That's the end of the 28th over 105 for 3. Interesting that I think it was Mangru who was due in next, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So to go against the order and send Campbell in first is interesting. Right, so Brits is back on the field. Klaas is going to jog back to the dugout, so that's good news. I'm very, very pleased to see that there's nothing serious going on there with Tasman, and the fact that she's running apparently pain-free. I think it was just sort of running repairs, as it were.
Absolutely. Unlike the West Indies, we saw Stefanie Taylor getting a blow to the head on Thursday, along with Shadeen Nation, who had to be stretchered off. So there would have been 2 forced changes for this match. And certainly when you're so close to such a big world event, you want everybody to be fit and available for selection.
You also want everybody to stay COVID-free. And the absolute heartbreaking story coming out of the men's camp of Keegan Peterson. I think it must have been the test just before they got on the plane that he returned positive, because he was in in the squad right up until the last possible moment, and then dropped because of a positive COVID test. At change of bowling, it is going to be Tumiseka Kune, who drops this one fairly short and just defended into the offside. Laura Wolfert does the fielding at point, no run.
Absolutely. And the COVID restrictions in New Zealand are extremely tight. I think the players had to have tests every single day, a week leading up to departure. So they don't want to leave anything amiss. New Zealand doesn't want anybody bringing in any COVID.
I must tell you, the COVID protocols are pretty tight here as well. And we've all had to show vaccination certificates to come in as Sekukune runs towards us from the golf course end. Oh, drops it short, actually bounces a little bit on Campbell, and she pulls her hand away from the bat. I think wrapped her on the knuckles, but no run. Yeah, I mean, we were walking around the stadium to go and sit at the memorial stand for a bit, when I was just dropping my daughter off, and a couple of times got glared at by security guards for trying to sneak up one of the alleyways and have a watch of the cricket. Sekukune again outside that off stump, left alone, and Trish Chetty takes it standing up to the stumps.
Of course, both teams playing in a biosecure environment, and I can't imagine what an adjustment that has been for the players. I mean, it's one thing for us as mere mortals just going around doing what we can, but for them to be in an enclosed place for so long must be tough.
No, for sure. And I mean, this is a team that seems to get on quite well with each other, I think. Left alone outside the off stump, no run. But it's a long time away from home. I was chatting to Sonala Jafta. I bumped into her down at Newlands, and she was going into the bubble the day after I was speaking to her. So think about that. That was day 3 of the men's test at Newlands, which feels like a lifetime ago for us. And she wasn't going to go back home until mid-April. Sekukune back of a length and played into the offside. It is collected by Senelis and no run.
Absolutely, no, that's tough. But I love what Tumiseka Kune is doing here. What she doesn't have in pace, she makes up with a consistency. Just keeping that just outside the off stump there. Sort of the new batter in, also trying to find her feet as well. So it's been really great from her.
Yeah, this is exactly the sort of situation she's good, where she's not facing someone who's going to run down the pitch and have a go at it, as this is knocked into the onside. That is the end of a very, very good over. And Sekukune has now bowled 5 overs, 0 for 15. I was a little bit worried about her. I was watching this team practice, I suppose, a couple of days before the start of the series. Having a middle practice, and Sekukune was getting belted by the South African batsman. That is, I think it was Tasman Brits who was, just happily walking down the pitch and flat batting her through the offside. And then she didn't have a great game first up. It was a couple of. It was in the practice match, I think she played. Yes, because she hasn't played in this ODI series yet, and also didn't have a great game. And I really was worried that maybe batters had found out about it, but she certainly came roaring back today.
Absolutely, and that selection to the World Cup squad will do a world of confidence.
It will indeed. Chloe Tryon bowls a full toss, but it's a new batter, and she doesn't really have a go at it. And Ayabonga Kaka makes a diving stop.
It's difficult for her. I mean, she comes in very low down the order, so every opportunity she gets with the ball, she knows that she really needs to make sure she plays her part and her role.
And it is a very particular holding role that she plays, as this is just knocked back to Chloe Tryon, no run. Score, by the way, 105 for 3. Matthews is facing on 7. Shemaine Campbell is on 1. And it's a cautious period for the West Indies. They need to find a way to break the shackles here. Fuller ball again, just driven straight back to Chloe Tryon, and she fumbles it off her own bowling, but no run.
Good consistency here from Tryon. She strayed a little bit down leg side on Thursday, and that has really capitalized there. But today she's keeping it really tight.
Looping ball, straight through everything, and Trish Chetty takes it. For a moment, I thought that had gone on to hit Campbell on the to hit Matthews rather on the pads. It kept very, very low.
Matthews playing back there. It's always risky, risky movement.
Exactly. You need to use the feet too, the spinners, but Chloe Tryon bowling beautifully here. This one is shorter and driven off the back foot through the offsides. Just the 1 run to Nadine de Klerk. That is the end of the 30th over. 106 for 3. No, sorry, 1 ball remaining. My apologies. So 106 for 3 is the score. One ball remaining in the 30th over. Matthews is on 8, Campbell on 1. And Tryon loops this, defended, and finishes her second over with excellent figures of 1 wicket for 2 runs so far. Superb, pressure-filled period that Tryon has achieved. So we are going to have a change of commentary. Thank you very, very much, Lerato, for your time. You stay well. It will be Paul and Chris who are going to be coming through. So we will let Paul settle down, or it'll be Chris who's going to settle down and take over ball by ball. And I will say thank you very much. Good afternoon, Chris.
Afternoon, Simon. Great to be back at the cricket. We find ourselves 30 overs in. At the moment, the West Indies are 106 for 3. They won the toss and elected to bat. At the crease at the moment, we have Matthews on strike, and at the non-strikers end, Jermaine Campbell.
Hello, Chris. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well.
Dumi Sikukune, bowling to Hayley Matthews from the golf course end. Trisha Chetty is up on the stumps, and this one's played out to the offside, no run. The field, Chris, an interesting one. We are out of the power play overs, but South Africa has a field that looks like it's in the power play overs with fine leg and third man outside the ring, and you have that bowl shape fielding with backward point, extra cover mid on, mid off, mid wicket, and a square leg all in the ring. Do me in. This is a little bit straighter, and I don't know how that didn't break through the defense. Went straight to Trisha Chetty. Great take as Hayley Matthews was playing that ball back of a length. Tight on her body, trying to play that on the back foot, and it went straight through to Trisha Chetty, nearly an edge there for South Africa.
Just missing that outside edge. We also see the replay there, Tumisa Kakune, acknowledging that fact.
I wondering how that missed an edge. Do me into Hayley Matthews. This one's played square. Oh, what a catch! Unbelievable fielding there. What a catch by Laura Wolfart. This was played square. On the rise, on the up by Hayley Matthews to backward point, and a one-handed catch from Laura Wolfart. Dumi Sikukune getting the breakthrough for South Africa. Hayley Matthews has to go back for 8 of 20 balls. Insane fielding.
Catch of the series, unbelievably. Laura Wolfart there at point. It's hit to her right, and she dived. She was parallel to the ground at the moment that she took that catch. After a couple of drops, that really sets the tone for the rest of the innings. That makes up for anything that we've seen. Unbelievable fielding there.
Amazing fielding. There was that chance in the ball before, but this one was a little bit wider, similar length, and Hayley Matthews thought she could play that off the back foot, but man, oh man, Laura Wolfart with the catch of the year coming out onto a right with a one-handed supreme John T. Rhodes-esque.
Yeah. It's where he'd be fielding. It's the sort of angle that he'd be at the time that he'd take the catch. Just
because
fantastic.
That's why we all want to field the backward point for those moments. And
unfortunately, we're not all quite as athletic as Laura Wolfart. I wouldn't be able to take that. That was fantastic. And now we're going to see a debutante. Mandy Mungru's getting her first go in the series, 22 years old.
Yes, Mandy Mungru, 22 years old from Guyana, making her debut, looking to get a chance looking into that West Indies Women's World Cup squad. They haven't announced theirs yet. So she'll be hoping to, come through and put down some runs, make sure that, when the selectors are thinking, Chris, that they think a little bit harder and possibly consider her. She's played in the West Indies Women's A team for this past year, playing against Pakistan A. And she's also played in the regional ODIs for Guyana women throughout in the Caribbean. So really exciting talent for them. She's come through the system, and so we'll be looking to that. It is a drinks break now that's been taken at the fall of that wicket. West Indies 106 for 4 after 30 overs. Mungru obviously is on here to face a ball. Jermaine Campbell, the wicketkeeper, is on 1. West Indies started off the day. They won the toss, chose to bat first. Had a really lovely partnership between Kaisia Knight and Deandra Dotton. There was over 50 runs. And then after that, South Africa took 2 quick wickets in the last 5 overs to bring the game back into their half. Knight was on 48. Dotson was on 36. She was caught by Sinead Lees at extra cover catching. Rashada Williams was out for 6, edging the ball onto stumps. Kaisia Knight on 48. She was out, caught in the same region.
At point.
The same region as last wicket.
Yeah, 48. She looked very disappointed.
Yes.
She felt her knees after that catch was taken. It
And
would have
then-
been a second 50 in the series.
And then the last wicket of Hayley Matthews, who was caught back at point by a flying, airborne Laura Wolfart, a catch she will probably replay in her head for a very long time. And so now West Indies find themselves 106 for 4, 30 overs in, and we'll resume now. Dumi's taken her first wicket. South African bowlers, Shubnam Ismail 2 for 26 from her 6 overs. Ayabonga Kaka, no wickets for 9 runs after 5 overs, really economical. Dumisi Kukune, 1 wicket, 15 runs in her 3 balls into her 6th over. Nadine de Klerk's gone for 27 in her 4, and Sinead Lees has gone for 24 in her 8 overs. Chloe Tran's taken a wicket and has gone for 2 runs in her 2 over spell. Dumi's coming in. There's a catching extra cover and a slip in for Mandy Mangru, who gets a first ball in international cricket and plays it back to that catching cover for no run. Nice little forward defense. Field, slip, third man, fine leg outside of the ring. You've got back at point, Laura Wolfart, the flying Laura. Mignon Dupree at cover. You also have a catching extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, as well as that fine leg on the boundary. Full toss to Mandy Mangru from Dumisi Kukune, played out to back of point, no run. Because it's going to be quite interesting to see how the West Indies manage this period, because the top 4 has been largely where their runs have gone in this series.
And obviously, for a long time, the backbone of this batting lineup was Stefani Taylor. She's out with a concussion she suffered in the last game. We've got 3 new players in for both sides.
Yes.
And so it's going to be a real test.
To me, being clapped in by the crowd, the small crowd that's in, they take a quick single down the leg side, and Mandy Mangru gets her first run of international cricket as she gets to the other end. Shemaine Campbell got a ball to the body as Tasman Brits was thinking of effecting a run out. End of that over 107 for 4. West Indies in a spot of bother. South Africa feeling like they may have broken the back of this batting order.
Yeah, the West Indies started very strong, scoring quickly in the power play, and then those runs just dried up. And I guess for a while there, Dotton and Kaisia Knight looked happy enough to go at that low run rates, and then a couple of half chances, and then the 2 wickets, and then.
But that's always been, I think, the West
that.
Indies thing is that traditionally West Indian cricket has given you those strong lower middle order batters. This team, even in the women's team when they won the World Cup, they had Chidi Nation at all. This team is just struggling to find that touch in that lower middle order. Chidi Nation isn't playing today. She would have been great. She scored a lovely 36 towards the back end of that game that was tied. Chloe Tran from Caller Drive in, first ball outside the off stump, just going with the arm to Trisha Chetty to Mandy Mangru. Slip backward point, catching extra cover, who's really in. We've also got conventional cover mid on. Shortish mid-wicket as this next ball's played out to that catching extra cover. You've got mid-wicket catching on the leg side, mid-on. You then have mid-wicket on the boundary as well as square leg on the boundary to Chloe Tryon, who comes in a lot fuller and straighter this time, bringing the forward defense from Mandy Mangru, 22-year-olds, making her debut.
It does seem like they've picked her on potential, where she hasn't really ripped apart for the A side or in the domestic team, but they've obviously identified something there.
But what a way to start your international career with your fellow Guyanese player there, as this next ball is a ripper, just turning off the deck there past the bat of Mangru. She comes forward to that, and Trisha Chetty takes that one. And a little play and a miss there for the West Indian. Trisha Chetty is always going to be in the business right now with the way she's bowling. Next ball in from Chetty. This one's short. It is wide, and Mangru looking to play at that, but it's a little bit too quick. Go straight to the keeper, no run. So Mangru and Campbell come from Guyana, and so really nice for her to come in with a fellow Guyanese on the other end, Shemaine Campbell, who's played close to 90 ODIs for the West Indies, as this one's played straight back. It was a full toss, and Mangru played it straight back to the bowler. No run there, made it over, 107 for 4 after 32. It's a really interesting time for this game, an interesting period. Question obviously with South Africa having opened up that lower middle order. You've got some obviously Shemaine Campbell, who's experienced. She's gotten 150 in international career, but her average of 19 hasn't been that great. And is something the West Indies would be wanting her to push on. Hasn't had the best of times in South Africa. She did score 42 in the invitational game, the warm up earlier on 2 weeks ago. But the last time Shemaine Campbell played for West Indies was in 2020 before the series. So she's also trying to cement her place in. So South Africa tasting blood, going to their spearhead Shubnam Ismail to Shemaine Campbell. This one's short and wide outside the off stump. Shemaine letting that go through. Umpire Tuma unmoved there. So it's still a dot ball. South Africa looking to try and open this game up, going to Shubnam Ismail to add more pressure on this two. Dumisi Kukuna now obviously taking a rest. She's bowled her first spell, 6 overs, 1 for 16. And Shubnam coming in. Similar field to Dumi before. You've got 5 fielders on the offside, 4 on the leg side, as this one's spearing into that off stump. And Shemaine Campbell playing it very late and out and pushing that one out to point. No run. Had she missed that one, we probably would have been in with the business from there.
Yeah, I guess it's always a bit of a gamble, bit of a balance bringing in your strike bowler in these middle overs. But as you were saying, I think they've opened that crack and now they're trying to take advantage and really lay into this middle order from the West Indies.
And what better way to have a low scoring game for the South Africans here. This one is short down the leg side and pulled over the field at square leg, who was in the ring for 4 runs. Really great shot from Shemaine Campbell. You can see that technically she has it all in her. She just needs to be a lot more consistent, and that shot could be the start of a really good innings. 4 runs.
Yeah, we saw in the previous over, Chloe Tryon had that protection at mid-wicket and square leg. Shubnam Ismail, no such protection as a seam bowler, and that was just dispatched to the open mid-wicket boundary.
It's a really good shot. Now square leg's gone to the boundary for that one, as Shubnam bowls it full and straight and defended out with a forward defensive back into to the fielder at mid-on. Playing in the V, playing straight is Shemaine Campbell, also the wicketkeeper bat. West Indies are going to need a lot from her today for them to be able to win this game and put something on the board that the bowlers can bowl to. Remember, West Indies going on with 2 spinners, or with 2 recognized spinners in Afi Fletcher, the leg break bowler, and Anisa Mohammed. Previously, they went with with a seam attack and 1 spinner. Ooh. This ball coming in, jagging off a length into Shemaine Campbell, coming forward a little bit too quick, and she tried to play that straight, but it squared her up and went out to the offside for no run. Really interesting ball from Shubnam, because it did jag back in. It missed the bat and hit Shemaine Campbell on the body. She was lucky because I think it had gone through. Probably would have been a wicket ball, because really awesome skill from Shubnam. And she comes in again to Shemaine Campbell, who plays this next ball, good length outside the off stump on the back foot out to the field at extra cover. End of that over. It is Nelson at 111 for 4. Mangru on 1, Campbell on 3. West Indies with 17 overs left in this innings are currently going at 3.4 and over.
Yeah, it does look like it's going to be one of the lowest scoring matches of this series. How much of that is the change in batting lineups that the West Indies have? How much of that is the fact that they're playing on this used pitch? I'm not sure, but yeah, it does look like it's going to be a low-scoring thriller.
I think it's largely the injury induced, and that's one thing that's putting a dampener on the series, Chris, is the amount of injuries the West Indies have picked up over the past couple of years. As Chloe Tryon resumes from the caller drive end, a full ball driven out to the field at wideish mid-off. No run there for Mandy Mangru. because it kind of destabilized Stefani Taylor's
Yeah.
not playing. Shadeen Nation, who'd be batting in at number 7 for them, isn't playing as Chloe Tryon comes into Mangru. The Swans going on with the arm. Mangru is watchful and lets it go through to the keeper, Chetty, no run.
I suppose both sides have been testing their depth. Obviously, South Africa missing Danae van Niekerk. She's, I guess, the Proteas women's last has been Super Sports Gain, and then Lizelle Lee also not featuring neither Marizana.
Son's a lot straighter, and a drive coming through from Mangru, and the ball turns as it goes through. Another play and a miss there. Chloe Tryon's getting this ball to turn. That's probably why one of the reasons of from the used pitch. That ball is singing there, Chris, and Chloe Tryon is looking like a world beater right now. She comes into Mangru. This one's outside the off stump. Mangru's timing is off as she misses a wide one on the offside, and it goes to Trisha Chetty, no run. 10 balls bowled to Mandy Mangru so far. No runs have been taken. It's really getting a bit of a baptism of fire here in international cricket. And she lets the next one go through, 11 runs to Trisha Chetty. 11 balls now bowled from this end to Mangru, and no runs.
She's from this end anyway. Yeah, she got that one batting at the other end.
Tryon into Mangru, a couple of fielders on the boundary now on the offside. It's a lot straighter this time. She defends that one down to the leg side to middle on for no run. End of the second maiden in Chloe Tryon's spell. She's bowled 4 overs for 1 wicket and 2 runs. West Indies run setting, the first innings, has stalled a little bit, Chris, at 111 for 4.
The amount of turn Chloe Tryon's getting, you think she'll get a few more overs in that. So obviously, she's always been an all-rounder, but in recent times, more of a batting all-rounder.
This is where I go to my team and ask who ball spin. Anybody else
Yeah,
wants to turn their arm over?
No Mumkalele Kumlaba today, no Ntozake. So it's Senelis and Chloe Tryon. Obviously, we also want to get these overs into Chloe Tryon before that Women's World Cup, just so we know that she's fresh and ready if that's needed. And
it's a really handy option if you don't want to play Nomkuleko Mlaba and go with a strong seam attack, knowing you've got 2 spinners in the side. This one's short. It was on full on the pads from Shubnim Ishman from the golf course end to Shemaine Campbell. She missed it, and it hit her on the pads, but it was deemed not out. There's a bit of an appeal there.
I would guess the fact that she's going for a cross-batted shot, it was probably a bit high. She was on the back foot there.
It was actually a shortish length. It wasn't full. It just died. The bounce just died on Campbell there.
So probably just over the top, although I'm very easily convinced by a loud appeal, and Shubnam Ishmael was pretty convinced that was gone.
Shubnam into Shemaine Campbell. This one's a slower ball and played down the leg side, really well identified by Campbell. Quick single. Oh, quick 2 taken. There's a shy at the stumps from Chloe Tryon on the leg side, and Shemaine Campbell making it in safely. Good running from the West Indians. Great presence of mind from Campbell to identify that slow ball and just play it out to the leg side. 2 runs ensuing as the fielders on the leg side, 2 of them are on the boundary.
Yeah, if that was a direct hit, it might have been a little bit pretty close, but in the end ended up missing, and they were safe there for 2.
So the 3 fielders out of the ring, third man, square leg, backward square leg, as well as a conventional square leg, as this next ball is full on off stump, defended out by Campbell out to the side, no run. To complete the field with the fielders in the ring, backward point, conventional point, extra cover, that's the captain. Dumi's at mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket is Tasman Brits. And mid-on, if you want to know, is Andre Steyn, as Shubnam comes in for 4th ball in her 8th over. A lot straighter, defended out to the offside. South Africans converging on the ball, no run.
Yeah, and as you were saying, just that one shot from Campbell's been enough to convince the South Africans to put in that cover on the onside for Shubnam Ishmael. We do have just off, deep square leg, and then very close to her, a fielder sort of between fine leg and square leg. So, and I guess we saw the attempted pull, that was also an LBW appeal. They definitely have it as an option there to stop the boundary and possibly take a catch as Shubnam Ishmael targets the body a little bit more.
Shubnam in short ball this time down the leg side, a bad ball from Shubnam, and Shemaine Campbell enjoys that one as she climbs into it. pulling that behind square to the fine leg boundary for 4. Remember, Chloe Tron's a lot squarer, and so she has to cover a lot of ground, and that raced away for 4. 117 for 4. Campbell is now on 11.
So, given that field pacing, I'd imagine it's part of the plan that Shotnam Ishmael was trying to attack the pads there, but that one, just enough space that it was able to be tickled down to fine leg.
Shouldn't into Campbell again. This one's full on off stump, a lot more fuller than you would expect. A little bit of a block hole ball there, defended out to the offside. Quick single taken. End of that over. 118 for 4. Campbell on 12. Mungru still on 1. This time she won't be facing Chloe Tryon, as they've gone to the other end, and Campbell will be facing her.
So Chloe Tryon been unbelievably economical so far. Just the 2 runs off of her 4 overs, so it makes sense that they're going to continue with her.
And I think they should. She's done a really great job bowling. When you're a captain and you've got like a part-time bowler, the more overs they get that they are bowling well, and like more maidens or low run overs, you kind of feel like you're stealing from the opposition. As this one is full, and from Chloe Tryon, driven by Tremaine Campbell, who got to the pitch of the ball out to mid-off, no run. 1 slip and play backward point. You've also got the catch and cover. You've got a sweep on the offside and 3 fielders on the leg side. I'll tell you about those after this. This one's short and wide and played and played out to that region, that cover point region where the sweeper is, for 2 off the bat of Tremaine Campbell. She would have wanted that to be a 4, but not a lot of timing on that one. Score goes up to 120 for 4.
Yeah, she probably thought that she found the gap perfectly. It looked like it was on its way to the boundary, but held up enough in the grass that the sweeper was able to get around.
Trying again, short and wide, and played out to the offside. Same shot. This time cut off by Nadine for a single. First time those 2. Now it's just a 1. Lovely cut shot to the in front of square off the back foot from Campbell. Mungru and Tryon will resume their battle. Tryon so far has bowled 12 balls to her. No runs have come through. This one's a lot straighter onto Mungru. She plays it on to the leg side, to tip and run, and she runs through thinking that they're going to take a shot at the stumps, and she's protecting herself as she gets to the non-strikers end. No throw was made, but the threat of it really affecting the West Indies batter.
Nadine de Klerk getting her steps in as she came in for Mungru and has now had to go back out to the boundary.
Yes, Tryon to Campbell. This one digging underneath the bat, and it's a wicket for South Africa as Shemaine Campbell played above it, and the ball snuck in and took off stump. Shemaine Campbell has to go. She's bowled by Chloe Tryon, who takes a 2nd wicket in this match. West Indies 122 for 5, and Chloe Tryon has a golden arm.
Yeah, sort of Yorker length just snuck under the bat of Campbell. And yeah, you're talking about part-time bowling. You feel like you're stealing overs. Must feel double that when your 6th option's taking 2 wickets for the 6 runs as well.
Yes, and as a captain, you take those. You would take those. An incredible over from Chloe Tryon. Shemaine Campbell bowled by Chloe Tryon for her 15. Really disappointing for the West Indies, but that brings in Aliyah Elaine, who has only played 9 matches, has scored 49 runs. Her high score was on Thursday as coming on as a concussion substitute for Stefani Taylor. She scored 18 in that match. Someone who's also very new to international cricket, and so it's going to be quite interesting to see how she goes in this match, with the West Indies are needing a lot from her. It looks like it just might be a situation where the West Indies just might end up having a low score to defend.
And another testament to the lack of middle order depth at the moment. This is the earliest that Aliyah Lane's ever come into bat in an international. She's batting at 7 today. Normally she's going to be there at 8 or 9.
Yeah, so you've got Mungru, who's on debut, Elaine, who scored 49 runs in international cricket, 1 slip to Chloe Tryon, backward point, point is in the ring, extra covers catching. We also got mid-wicket catching and a conventional one on the boundary. First ball from Chloe to Elaine. She drives that out to that fielder point. End of that really lovely over. 122 for 5. are the West Indies. Mangru on 2 not out. Elaine has just come in. She's faced 1 ball for no run. West Indies, having lost Campbell in that last over, in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, and not a lot of batting. We'll see exactly how Anisa Mohammed navigates this as captain. Obviously, she's also quite often the tail ender, but she might send herself in ahead of a couple of these batters, because Afi Fletcher will be playing her first match in the series, and hasn't scored a lot of runs up until this point in her career. Similar with Sherry Ann Fraser.
Yes, and that's the other thing about the West Indians, that they've got four players who have or 4 or 5 players who've gotten over 70 T20 ODIs, but then after that there's not a lot of experience. As this ball from Ayabonga Kaka coming from the golf course end, it was short and pulled by Mangru. It hung in the air a little bit, and asking Chloe Tryon to come from the boundary at fine leg to take the catch, but it bounced in front of her. Single was taken, but you can see that Sunelise sees that she can open this game up, so she's going to her strike bowlers. She's leaving Trisha Shabnam Ishmael with 2 overs left on the back end. She's now going to her other strike bowler in Ayabonga Kaka. There was a bit of a break in play. I just now trying to get back to her mark. 2 fielders outside the ring, fine leg and third man. Aya bowls a little bit back of a length outside the off stump to Elaine, who plays this one out to that third man on the boundary. That's Dumisi Kukuna for a single.
Aaliyah Elaine, I guess, might get a go in the Commonwealth Games that we're expecting to see in July of this year. She's one of the few Barbadian women in this 11.
Yes, Kaka into Mangru, gets a full and straight on off stump, and she comes across and defends it really well on the back foot out to the offside. It is a baptism of fire for young Mangru making her debut today. She would have wanted to come in with maybe one of the experienced batters, a Dotton and Knight or Matthews. She did come in with Campbell. Campbell lost a wicket, and she's now needing to try and help her team get a decent total. Full ball this time, a full toss, driven out to Sunelise for a single, no run.
Yeah, suddenly finding herself as the senior member in the pairs that she's going to be batting in throughout the rest of this innings.
Yes. Ayabonga Kaka coming into Mangru down the leg side. Mangru clips that nicely off the bat. That's a shot that she is comfortable playing and would be happy to see a ball going down the leg side for a single. 124 for 5.
She's definitely also being cautious about this, Mangru. She's happy to bat slowly, and I guess given the circumstances of the game, it makes sense to do that for now. Try.
Kaka into Elaine. This one's outside the off stump. Is asking for an edge. The South Africans say it's a wicket. The umpire has given her out as she flashed at a 1 wide outside the off stump. It was caught by Trisha Chetty, and so the 2 umpires are going to have a discussion. There's a decision happening in the middle as to whether there was.
So soft decisions aren't.
So whether there was an edge, but they've. I think it's very sensible to stop play and go upstairs. There's a bit of uncertainty around whether there is an edge or not. It was wide. It was wide. It was short. It was played. A bit of an under edge. The catch is not the thing at the question right now. The question is whether there's an edge.
Yeah, and the South Africans seem pretty convinced, but maybe that's just the tactics of if you're good enough at appealing, you're going to get a couple of extra wickets. We're waiting for that replay now. All eyes on the field are on the screen.
Really comfortable, and I'm happy with the decision-making process here from umpire Kuma. He wasn't unsure. He heard a noise, and even though he gave her out,
and it has been given out,
and he took it outstairs, and now we're seeing from the scoreboard that Aaliyah Elaine has been given out. The West Indies lose another wicket at 125 for 6. It's some sort of a collapse of note here, Chris. I don't know how many wickets have fallen for the last 3-4 wickets.
how many runs?
How many runs have
now,
gone for the last 4 wickets?
well, they were 104 for 2, and now they find themselves 125 for 6. So, yeah, definitely not what the West Indies wanted to see.
4 wickets and 21 runs, and it comes in also a newbie into the side, Cherry Ann Fraser. She made her debut in that series against South Africa in North Sound in the West Indies. And so she's coming in. She's known for her bowling and not her batting prowess. She actually hasn't faced the ball in international cricket.
And in the recent A games that she's been playing, she hasn't seen double digits more than once. And that was a while ago now, 2nd of July last year against the Pakistan.
I beg your pardon, I think she's only gotten 8 runs in international cricket. And so it's going to be another baptism of fire. New people coming in, young, inexperienced, lower middle order. It's a tall task for the West Indies. South Africa see an opening. The golden arm of Chloe Tryon continuing from the caller drive end to Mangru, who lets the first ball go outside the off stump to the keeper, no run. Chloe Tryon's done really well. 1 ball into a 6th over, 2 wickets for 6 runs. Really great bowling from her, giving Hilton Moreng and Snail Loose options. And that's what you want going into the World Cup. Another ball outside the off stump, this one turning away from the right-hander, and umpire Stevens calls it a wide. So extras now on 8. Score goes up to 126 for 6.
Sherry Ann Fraser, another dual sport athlete. There seem to be so many of them in the women's game.
Another wide one from Chloe Tryon. Mangru just letting that go through. 127 for 6. This is the discipline that you are asking for from your team as a captain. Don't let it slip. You have them 127 for 6. Just don't give them freebies.
Yeah.
Chloe into Mangru down the leg side. She sweeps it and misses it. There's an appeal from the small crowd that we have here at the Wanderers, but the players know that it's just going down leg, as Mangru really struggling with the pace of the ball from Chloe Tryon. It's actually the turn. It actually straightened as it bounced off the surface. So Mangru really struggling to play Chloe Tryon. Next one, this one's down the leg side. It is a full toss, and Mangru just helps it on its way to the fine leg boundary. It won't make it, as a great fielding effort from Andre Steyn on that fine leg boundary to prevent 2 runs, as the West Indies go to 129 for 6.
As I was saying, Sherry Ann Fraser, one of the few, not just in the West Indies side, but women's cricketers who seem to have represented their country in a couple of sports. She's represented Guyana in volleyball. We saw Hayley Matthews earlier. She's
Chloe into Mangru, who then pulls out a cut shot for a ball that was outside the off stump, passing that field that slip and getting it to the backward to the gully region. There, that short third man region for a single. And the score is now 130 for 6. Mangru on 7. Fraser having not scored. Partnership worth 5. It's actually quite interesting because the Thailand women's cricket team were a softball team that was converted into a cricket team. And so the interesting thing about that is that they've only got one pacer and everyone else bowls spin. Right. So it's really interesting to see how the dual sport nature of women's cricket, as you know, Tasman Brits play. It was a national javelin.
And Sanette Viljoen went the other way, went from cricket then to javelin, got a silver medal.
Well, she's back again for the Titans, the Momentum or Fidelity Titans ladies now that they've got in the sponsorship with Fidelity. Short ball or shortish ball from Chloe Tryon going down the leg stump. She came around the wicket to the left-handed Cherry Ann Fraser, who's very tall. And she played that one down the leg side. No run taken, just a wide. Another extra. Extras are now at 10. Chloe still sticking around, left arm over, I beg your pardon. She was coming around the wicket to the right-handers. Now she's coming over the wicket to the left-handed Cherry Ann Fraser. Full outside the off stump, driven to the field at extra cover. That's Sikukune. No run.
You were talking about the Thai women's side. You were at those World T20 qualifiers where it's one of the most heartbreaking stories. Obviously, this Thai team they've done well to get where they are, and we're doing so well in that before COVID got
Short
in the way.
ball on off stump from Chloe, played off the back foot by Cherry and Fraser back to the bowler now, right? That's true, Chris. They were the best team in that tournament in Group B. They were leading Group B at the time when the tournament was cancelled. They had beaten Zimbabwe, came close against. They restricted Pakistan to 150. They had beaten the USA, and they would have made it into the Super 6 stage of the tournament. And at that point, the top 5 teams would have made it. Would have gotten ODI status. However, because and ODI status means that you would play in the ODI Championship, you travel around the world playing West Indies, South Africa, all these teams for the next cycle of games. Unfortunately, because they don't have an ODI ranking, the top 5 teams in that tournament, because it was cancelled by COVID, got that ODI status. That I think was Sri Lanka, who didn't make it to the World Cup. And so you've got Aya Bongakaka into this one is Mangru, who gets a short one outside the off stump. She looks to cut it, but is caught by Trisha Chetty as she missed that one. Yeah, so the top 3 were always going to make it through, but now it went to the top 3 teams with the highest ranking.
Yeah.
And those were Bangladesh, West Indies, as well as Pakistan. And then Sri Lanka, the next 2 highest ranked teams, got into the ODI Championship. As this next ball squaring up, Mangru going to backward point. She looks to take the run. There's a single taken and a shot at the stumps from Laura Volfat that was accurate. And the West Indians took a single off the ball, ricocheting off the stumps. So really great thinking from the West Indians, but some dangerous play from them, because yes, you don't run off of the stumps ricocheting, and as you would say, that's clever, but Laura had another shot at the stumps and she missed that one, but it nearly would have resulted in a wicket, as Mangru is very slow between the wickets.
Yeah, direct hits, and then obviously you have to target the other set of stumps, because if you hit the ones that already
you have to lift it up, and then
so if the stumps hadn't been hit the first time, probably would have targeted the strikers end there. But yeah, no, I'm sure you saw. Wait,
yes,
after this delivery.
Kaka into Cherry and Fraser, right arm over to left-hander. This one's a little back of a length into the body of Fraser, plays it out to mid-wicket. No run. The field is still the same for the South Africans. 5-4 fields, 4 fielders in the ring on the offside in front of square. The 2 fielders on the ring or outside are 5 leg and third man. There's actually a slip now to Cherry and Fraser. So it's a 6-3 field offside, and this one is outside the off stump, and Fraser just plays it out to extra cover, no run.
Just to touch on the Thai side one more time, you probably saw, but the most heartbreaking part of that was there was a photo taken of the wallpapers on the phones of all the Thai women, and every single one of them was that 2022 World Cup logo. That's what they were all going for, and then to be robbed of it like that, it's just very, very sad.
Oh, this ball cutting in half, just swinging into the left-handed Cherry Ann Fraser. She played outside of it, but you can see with Trisha Chetty taking it on the inside there, how much it swung into Fraser. Really good ball from Aya on a back of a length, no run.
Yeah, very nearly another wicket there, that one.
Aya into Fraser. This one is a lot straighter on off stump and fuller, and driven back to the field at mid-on. End of that over. 39 overs gone. West Indies going at 3.4 runs and over. 132 for 6. Mangru and 8. Fraser yet to get off strike. Yes, and that was the plan, and that's what you love, the story of that's why you have the qualifiers to give teams who received ODI status just before that World Cup to be able to get to the World Cup, cause upsets. Unfortunately, that wasn't to be, and it's really disappointing, because you would have seen a Thai side, even if they didn't make the World Cup, they would have been part of the ODI Championship, and one of the bigger names would have to wait. And it's also a money thing as well, because if you're part of the ODI Championship, you'll get support from the ICC, which means a lot more professionals from that team, or a lot more professionalism coming into the Thai game. Now we're seeing a bowling change. For our final over of our commentary stint, it is Dumisi Kukune coming from the caller drive end into Mangru. This one's just full outside the off stump. Mangru letting that go. She's let a lot of balls go outside the off stump. She's got Dumi's field to Mangru. Third man and fine leg on the boundary. Backward point in the ring. You've got conventional point, extra cover, as well as mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket in the circle catching. We've also now got in the field, it was at square leg, now at a catching gully. So 6-3 field to Dumi, ball outside the off stump as she does, and Mangru just letting that go through for no run. I think Dumi can bowl a little bit straighter because she's got protection on that leg side if she does err a little bit.
Yeah. Try to force a shot out of Mangru, as you said. She's been happy enough to leave them alone so far.
Mm. Yes, and there's going to come a point where Mangru's going to have to try and rotate the strike, try to get runs. And the South Africans are putting up a lot of pressure on her as Dumi comes in, Sekukune into Mangru. Outside the off stump, it's a lot fuller and driven to that fielder at cover. A little bit of some good timing from Mangru, but can't pierce the field. Dot ball there. You can even see the South Africans, they're encroaching in. Normally in ODI cricket, you get fielders who are infielders standing on the ring. Right. By the time the ball is delivered, they are about 10 paces in off of that ring. That shows you the amount of pressure the South Africans are putting on as Dumi bowls one full and wide. Mangru can't reach it.
Yeah, and she did have a flash at that one.
And umpire Stevens calls it wide. I think it's a little bit tough, a little bit harsh on Dumi. But we will take umpire Stevens' word for it.
Sorry, Stephen Harris,
Stephen Harris.
Who's been the third umpire, but is now standing umpire today.
Yes. Dumisi Kukune into Mangru again. It's still wide on that wide channel, and another wide call from umpire Harris.
Again, surprising to see Mangru, after being so happy to defend it and leave it, flashing at 2 wide deliveries in a row. I guess they say target the bad ball, but it does seem like she could turn one of those wides into an edge playing like that.
Yes, there is no slip in place. There is that catching gully. With Dumi's pace, that ball might actually go there rather than at first slip. She comes forward, and as you say, Chris, edges it down and past to where second or third slip would be to that third man fielder for a single.
I'll give her the benefit
up to 135 for 6.
Euphemistically describe that one as a dab down to third.
Well, she walked into it. She walked in and just realized it's a little bit of a less riskier shot and just played it out. Single coming through. She moves up to 9. 4 field, 5-4 field to Cherry Ann Fraser. Dumi right arm over into the left-handed Fraser, and it wraps her on the pads, going across to the offside. It'll be leg buys as they come through for a single. That is one more ball left in our stint, Chris. And we bring on the sweet sounds of Tsepo Taela and Dave Midgley as the left-hand, right-hand combination, forcing South Africa to change the field at every turn. Dumi into the right-handed Mangru. This one's full and wide and driven in the air over this lunging extra cover field. It will race away for 4. And Mangru gets a first boundary in international cricket and welcome boundary for the West Indies. As the score goes up to 140 for 6, Mangru on 13, Fraser without loss. We say thank you to Chris, and we'll bring in Dave Midgley as we go into the final 10 overs of this innings. West Indies needing to put something on the table as a handover to Dave Midgley.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for your fantastic run of form here. We hadn't taken many wickets in my previous slot with Chris, but certainly the two of you have come together and rip apart this West Indian batting lineup. Tsepo Taela is alongside me. Last 10 overs here, T. What would the West Indies be looking for the final 10?
How's it, everybody? Obviously, runs, and a lot of them without losing too many wickets.
Kaka from the golf course in. Back over the length and just guide it behind point, and they get through for 1. And it looks like Sunila Jafta is on the field. Looks like Trisha Chetty not on the park. Maybe she's struggling with something else. But you can tweet us at OneWorldSR, and you can share with us your thoughts on this game. Who's going to win it? South Africa doing really well here, but the game is nowhere near over. Kaka from the golf course end. This one is down the leg side, and umpire Lubabalatuma says wide ball.
Not where you want to be bowling to two fresh faces in the series, not only this game, both of them debuting in the series, and we're just seeing scenes of Trisha Chetty and the physio just walking into the change room. So it may have been something, a little bit of an injury. We'll keep you updated.
Kaka in again, and it's a good length delivery and on off stump, and there's an attempt of a drop and run there, but Mangru is not able to get away. She's on 13. Her partner at the other end, Fraser, is on 1. This partnership with 17, 142 for 6.
And they'll be keen to rotate the strike, just take a little bit of pressure off themselves.
Kaka in again. She's really steaming in here. This is tucked onto the onside. There's a shy at the non-striker's end, but Nadine de Klerk doesn't hit the mark. But I think she might have been safe in the end there. They get through for 1, and there's 3 balls remaining in this over.
Now we've seen the West Indies taking some streaky singles throughout the day, some run-out opportunities here and there. So changing gears when it comes to running between the wickets.
These Windies women, it's a packed offside field here for Kaka. Only 3 on the onside. And it goes into a vacant square leg region. There's going to be a chase on here for the boundary to be cut off. It's not going to be the case. The ball wins the race. 4 runs, and all too easy for these 2 when there's so many vacant spaces on the leg side.
Now that was very well whipped by Fraser. Gets that off the back foot as well. That's stepping towards that offside, just to play it across the line into that vacant square leg region, which is really good to see. Haven't been seeing batters exploit that onside.
Kaka in again and not giving any options there for Cherry and Fraser. That one's just left alone through to Jafta. No run.
It's very tall as well, is Fraser. You can definitely see the height difference on the whole field. And West Indies will be keen to keep the runs flowing. 147 for 6. As we just see Mangru getting her shoelace tied by the fielder at cover.
Yeah, the child in me says tie those shoelaces together.
The child in me says, don't you know how to double knots, you know?
Sure. It's just a common thing that you've seen. But it's good natured spirit of the game. Good to see from them. From both of those cricketers there. Kaka now, she's got 1 ball remaining in the 41st. She comes right on over to the left-hander. There's a massive swipe there from Cherry and Fraser. It doesn't connect at all and goes through to Sinlila Jafta. It's the end of the over, 147 for 6.
I wanted to also comment on Sine Lusa standing at a catching third, a very short catching
Almost
third,
like a
almost like a
gully
gully.
type.
Yeah. Ready for those catches there. Maybe seeing a little nip off the surface. And we also saw a lot of turn as well from the captain herself, literally pitching outside leg and going well down the offside. So there's a bit of movement. Keen to still take some wickets. Still in an aggressive mindset, the fielding team at the moment. West Indies 147 for 6. They're also in a little bit of trouble there.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 fielders out. It's both of them behind square on both the offside and leg side. Third man and fine leg in place. Sukukune to begin a new over. She's got 1 for 23 in her 7. She's in, and this is a wide ball to begin. Number of extras here, TT. 14 before that one, so 15 now. Do you think it's a concern for the South Africans going into the World Cup? You know, World Cup games can so often be decided on narrow margins like that, and when there are so many extras, it's got to be some concern for you.
No, it is a concern, and we're just seeing Captain Sunelus just chatting to her bowler. Just need to tighten up to the South Africans.
Dupriya in at catching cover, and this one is a mistime shot. I think she was looking for a cover drive, was Mangru, but Sukukune was able to just see it coming almost and respond accordingly.
A little bit of an inside edge and conversations here between mid-on and mid-off, Captain Loose and experienced premier pace bowler, Shabnam Ismail.
Sekukune in right arm over the wicket, passing umpire Harrison. That's the shot that she was looking for, was Mangru, but she just finds Mignon du Preez there in that catching position. Didn't quite time it. Maybe there's not enough pace on it to absolutely bash it through the covers.
It was a good-looking shot, though. I wasn't able to find the gap.
Sekukune right arm over the wicket, and this is a little bit straighter, and so she has to kind of play that later. And there's a shy there at the non-striker's end, but good backing up there by Tasman Brits, which means there's no run on offer. 148 for 6, halfway through the 42nd.
I have to commend the bowling of the South African team just for a moment. Aside from those 15 extras, have done very well to restrict the West Indies to 148 for 6 here in the 42nd over, 41.3.
Steaming in again, and this one's on the pads, and it's a drop and go. There's going to be a tight run here. Good effort by Sekukune. She got to the ball quickly and released, but just off target there, and so that means the West Indies get through for a single. 149 for 6. Mangru is on 15 and Fraser on 5.
Now, those are the signs of some pressure building up here on the batting team, taking risky singles that they wouldn't usually take. And going on with the comment that I was mentioning earlier, would you have imagined that the West Indies would be here, 149 for 6, if we told you this at the beginning of the series when Deandra Dotton was absolutely demolishing the bowling attack? To be fair, it's not a full-strength West Indies side, but a job done by the South Africans today.
Absolutely. Sekukune right arm over the wicket, and this one's cut away. And there's an opportunity that's been dropped. It was smashed straight at Tasman Brits. Frustration for Tumi Sekukune. She's saying, how can he not take a simple enough chance? It was straight at Tasman Brits, and she's dropped the dolly there, T.
And there's something that I've actually forgotten about today's game. The drop catches. I believe that's the 5th one today. And look, the 6th one today, and by no means a difficult catch. It wasn't really smashed at her with a lot of power. It was airborne. It was going in slowly to Tasman Brits and was right at her chest. Not a difficult catch to take. Didn't need to dive or anything. It literally just went in and went out.
Sekukune in again, and this one's driven hard at, but it's completely miscued, and that goes down to 3rd man, and they'll get through for 1. Not one she would have been convinced about. Mangru, but it's a single nevertheless. 42 overs gone. That's the 150 up for the West Indies, coming off 261 balls, 15 fours, and 1 6 partnership, 25. It looked like it was a simple enough catch. It came straight at her, and she dropped it.
Literally in her hands. It was right above her chest. It went through Sekukune, just frustration, hands in the air, you know that. Oh,
yeah,
you can feel that frustration. And I mean, these are the areas of concern that the South Africans will be thinking about. The fielding on display for catching it's been poor, to be frank, David. And it's unfortunate to see. They really need to tighten that up and get some energy out in the field just to make sure that these catches are caught.
Yeah, so 3 on the leg side. Mid-on, catching mid-wicket, and fine leg. Kaka over the wicket now. This one comes back into the body of Fraser, and she just defends that to Mignon du Preez, who's at a catching mid-wicket. Still on the square is Mignon du Preez, geeing up her bowler here, Aibonga Kaka. Kaka is starting her 9th, 1 for 20. It's a really miserly spell we've seen from Aibonga Kaka. Really good stuff from the South African quick. She's now in again, and that looked like a wide Yorker tee. That was very well bowled.
Doing well to make it difficult for the batter to actually dispatch this very far away. Definitely also for a low order batter, that's not the easiest thing. And just thinking about those drop catches, I mean, just looking at from a West Indian perspective, I'll go after this ball.
Kaka in again, and this one's on the back foot, driving almost a front foot drive on the back foot. She's trying to play that quite late and quite square, but not timing it well enough is Fraser, so she doesn't get a run.
As I was saying, from a West Indian perspective, these drop catches and the low score would also be an area of concern. After being given 6 opportunities, you definitely need to punish the side dropping the catches.
Kaka in, and there's a swipe there by Fraser. She really liked the look of that one. Trying to beat Volfart on the right hand, but it misses everything, goes through to Sinalo Jafta.
But it's looking difficult to bat on these surfaces. We're seeing tons of turn. We're seeing batters struggling to middle the ball to the boundary or middle the ball and find the gap, as we see the fielder at cover now go to a cover point sweeper. Points and backward points move a little bit backward of square now.
Tasman Brits is the one who's been sent out there. Ibon Kaka, 2 balls left in the over. She comes in again, and this one is defended out into the offside. Snedlers does the fielding, the South African skipper herself having a good day with the ball, because last game she did well with the bat and really putting in an all-round performance so far. If we have a look at her numbers so far, Snedlers 8 overs, 0 for 24. That's incredible stuff from the South African skipper.
Very economical, exactly what she needs for her team.
This one is dashed up, and there's catch taken at mid-off. It was one that could have so nearly have gone sideways for the South Africans. It was a lovely bit of bowling there. Sherry-Ann Fraser's gone. She's gone for 6 from 19. South Africa have their 7th. It's 150 for 7.
Yeah, just trying to release the shackles here, Sherry-Ann Fraser. Really trying to get the West Indies some boundaries here, much needed boundaries, but mistiming that as she tried to clear the long or the mid-on fielder, and actually just hit it straight down her throat. It was airborne for quite some time, had more than enough time to position herself under it and take the catch. Chloe Tryon.
Was Steyn.
Steyn, sorry about that.
No problem, but it was the bat also turning in the hand that was the undoing of Fraser. But that's the 7th wicket now for the West Indies, and that is also Ayabonga Kaka's 2nd. Wonderful bit of bowling from her. She's done with 9, 2 for 20 in her 9, and we'll likely see Sanella Jafta, continue, I think, for this game. Whether or not she bats is going to be an interesting one. Remember, it's a fairly recent rule change where your spare fielder or your the extra person in your team would be able to come on and wicket keep. It wasn't always the case. It used to be the rule that they couldn't come on. Nevertheless, change of bowling from the quarter drive end. It's Nadine de Klerk. She's had a difficult go of things. 4 for 24, or 4 overs rather, in her spell. 27 runs. It was those first 2 that were really expensive. But she seems to have pulled it back somewhat. Only 3 wickets remaining. Anisa Mohammed, the West Indian skipper for today, makes her way to the crease, and she'll face Nadine de Klerk once there is a single scored. Mangru up to de Klerk's challenge. This one is well bowled. She's bowled a better length there. Has Nadine de Klerk. She was guilty of essentially bowling half volleys in her first spell, and that's why she was suitably punished. It was half volleys, and when you give somebody the opportunity to hit a half volley through cover, most cricketers worth their salt will do that. And there was 3 of those in her first over. And so you've got to make sure that you pull things back after having a howler first up. De Klerk in again, much better line and length outside the off stump, and no opportunity there for Mangru to squeeze it behind point.
And that's the line and length that Nadine de Klerk constantly looks for. She's constantly threatening down that corridor of uncertainty, that 4th stump line. And if you miss those lines, you miss those lengths, you can definitely get punished. Turn those into a half volley. So she was searching for that before, found her groove, found her rhythm now. She sends the fielder from square leg to the boundary at deep square leg, fine leg, deep square leg, mid wickets, mid on, mid off, cover, extra cover points, and 3rd.
De Klerk with a short ball. This goes down the leg side. It was wayward from the South African seamer, and umpire Harris signals wide. The right idea, perhaps, just execution lacking. That's the 11th wide.
She does have a bouncer, quite a beamer. You can remember the reason that Captain Stefani Taylor's out of the game was because of a de Klerk bouncer.
De Klerk in again, and this is Fuller, and a good follow-up there by Nadine. It's just defended no run. 151 for 7, halfway through the 44th. Mangru on 15, and Anisa Mohammed without facing a ball yet.
6.3 overs left here for the West Indies at 151 for 7. Definitely not a position that they want to find themselves in.
De Klerk in, and again that corridor of uncertainty that TT was talking about, and no opportunity to beat the inner ring field here. There's just those 3 out that Seppo was telling you about. Fine leg, 3rd man, and deep backward square.
It's vital that the West Indies try to tickle some singles here and there. They don't need to go for the big shots. Just need to penetrate the gaps. There's one here on the onside at the square leg region.
That one swiped that hard, but no luck there. Goes through to Jeff. That was short and wide. You would imagine that it would be punished, but missing out on a bit of an opportunity there.
And that's the thing here. Just struggling to middle the ball, struggling to make contact with the wide balls. I forgot who it was that had a terrible ball caught.
Clack in again, and this one is able to be squeezed away down to third man, and they get through for one. And that is the end of the 44th. 152 for 7. Anisa Mohammed is off the mark.
Just struggling to dispatch the bad balls from time to time, struggling to middle them, and actually losing their wickets half the time, which isn't convenient for the West Indies now on 152 for 7.
Yeah, this partnership just 2, so they'll want to, as Tibble said, rotate the strike. There's nothing worse than when you're down in the dumps and things go from bad to worse. They were 79 for 1 at one point, and now how they have collapsed. And it's always Tibble an anomaly in one-day cricket where you see that there's good momentum and then suddenly things change due to 1 or 2 overs.
No, truly. Couldn't agree more.
Shabnam Ismail is going to be the bowling change from the golf course end. 8 overs so far. 2 for 37. And she'll hope to get a little bit more. 3 wickets on offer here. Let's see if she can get it. She goes right on over the wicket now. This one is full and driven out into the cover region, but cut off by de Klerk. No run with the West Indian captain, Anisa Mohammed, on strike. 4 changes for the Windies coming into this game. 3 for the South Africans. And an interesting couple of selections, at least for the South Africans, with Steyn being included in this team, even though she's not going to the World Cup. The last game before the World Cup, opportunity for somebody who is going to play as opposed to somebody who's not. This one is, that one came back in and she tried to just slice that away, but hit it into the ground, I think, did Anisa Mohammed on its way through to Sanoa Jata. I understand that a player is in a bubble and you want them to play, but maybe play somebody who's going to the World Cup, or do you think just give them an opportunity?
No, this could be an opportunity for you to test out some combinations for the World Cup, but at the same time, once the World Cup is over, you're going to need these players.
Sure. This one is full and driven out into the covers. It beats the fielder coming across Nadine de Klerk, but cut off in the end by Ayabonga Kaka, moving around from mid-on. Dot ball again, it's starting to build up.
Yeah, I could have taken a run there. It would have been a bit streaky, but at this point, the West Indies need to take as many runs as they can get. So it was also not a half volley, it was a full toss, a low one. So not properly dispatched, not straight enough to beat the fielder at mid-off.
Shabnam Ismail in again, and this one is chopped on. South Africa have their 8th, and Anisa Mohammed, the Windies captain's got to go. It was foolish and swinging away, and she just chopped it on. She's gone for 1.
Oh, no, it was a foolish delivery, trying to dispatch that through the offside. Didn't middle that at all, got the inside edge, chopped it onto a stump, and just like that, the zing bales are zinging, and Anisa Mohammed needs to go back, only scoring the 1 run, bowled by Shabnam Ismail. And now West Indies 152 for 8. The South African bowlers have their tails up, and have they earned it.
Yeah, it was one that just came back, jagged a mile off the wicket, and that's why she's been dismissed there. It was a peach of delivery, and that brings Afi Fletcher to the wicket. She's coming in at number 10, in serious trouble here, facing Shabnam Ismail. Just having a look at that replay, It's a cutter. It just hit the strip and come back in about 1.5 miles.
Yeah, that was literally pitching on like 6 stump. And it jagged in enough to almost come in line with that.
Spinner
literally into the right-hander. That was very dangerous. Incredible bowling here from Shabnam Ismail.
Fletcher for her first ball from Shabnam Ismail. She's in again, and this one's driven square of a foolish length. And no run there. There's one ball remaining in the 45th, 152 for 8.
Now, looking at this bowling performance from the South Africans is absolutely fantastic. Nothing can be taken away from them. But at the same time, it does look a difficult surface to bat on. I mean, pace bowlers are getting turns here with cutters. So if you're a batter here, you really need to apply yourself to get some runs.
Spicy wicket indeed. Shabnam Ismail. This one's just being cut between the off stump and the bat. It was a narrow gap that it squeezed through. And Jafta, the wicket keeper, making her way down to fine leg to do the cleanup work there. My goodness me, Seppo, it could have been 2 in the over.
David, my buddy, I'm looking at this. I'm just thinking, how easy is it to really bat out here? How many catches were dropped? How much lower could the score have been if the catches were caught?
Yeah, you might be in the running for a record there in terms of lowest dismiss or the lowest team total. But we've got 5 more to go. 153 for 8. Is the plan for the West Indies just to survive?
More than just survive. It's more than just batting out the overs. You need to make runs here, David. 153 is just not a good enough score. Let's go. It's a 3.4 and over. It's not going to give you that much more. You're not going to make it over that 200 mark.
Not at all. De Klerk for a new over. She's overpitched it and it's been smashed back up the ground, but a great stop there by De Klerk off of her own bowling. She had Tumi Sekune at mid-off covering her there as well.
Attempting a Yorker. It was a half volley, driven with power, but straight back to her. And as you said, good fielding off her own bowling.
Yeah, it's crucial that you make sure that you make up for it. She dropped a catch earlier in the game, did Nadine de Klerk, so she wants to put in a performance that she'll be proud of with the last couple of overs here. This one's full and just driven again, doing the fielding off of her own bowling. Not as well timed as she would have liked. She talk us through that field.
There's a third fine leg as well. A point, square leg, cover, extra cover, mid-on, mid-off, and mid-wicket.
Yeah, square leg in the pocket of umpire Tuma there, right up close. This one is full and bashed back up the wicket, but the timing was nowhere, and so she wasn't able to get the power that she was looking for. But I always enjoyed those chats with the umpire at square leg. You have a good old chin wag with the umpire at square leg. It's always good to connect with them because hopefully when you're bowling, then they're going to be favorable in their decisions to you.
Oh, he's a nice guy, that David.
Yeah, what a lovely fitter. This one is short, and she's tried to pull that one as Fletcher, but it's gone down the leg side for umpire Harris to signal a wide. Umpire Tuma, not going to be swayed easily.
No,
Stone-faced is the word that we like to use with him. He was part of the South Africa A series versus India A that we were part of in Bloemfontein. Well over 100 first-class games, and he's an experienced campaigner. De Klerk in again, and this one's short and wide. And she tries to get that away, does Fletcher, but not past Laura Volfart.
4 dot balls here, besides the wide from Nadine de Klerk. It was looking pretty tidy besides that delivery. And just needs to continue down that off-stump line to keep piling the pressure on the West Indies. And the West Indies batters need to start looking for gaps. Maybe open the face of the bats, just take it down to third for single.
That's exactly what she's was trying to do with that previous shot, but it doesn't go as fine as she'd like, and it goes square. And Volfart does the fielding. No run there. 1 ball remaining in the 46th. 154 for 8. Mangru on 15, and Fletcher just on single.
It's basically now up to the South Africans to finish the job. Doesn't look like the West Indies are going to be going just throwing everything they can at this, throwing the kitchen sink at every delivery. So South Africans really just need to wrap this up with some wickets.
De Klerk with a full toss there. Again, Fletcher's trying to open the blade there to get it fine to get one. She doesn't manage to get it. It's copy and paste in terms of where it goes to point. And that is the end of the 46th. 4 remaining, 154 for 8, and there was just 1 in that over.
Just the one indeed. Runs drying up here, even more so than before. Runs proving very hard to come by. But you have to say, class bowling from the South Africans. Haven't been given too much away.
Give them nothing. Give them nothing. Give them nothing at all. 154 for 8. 46 overs gone. And Shabnam Ismail will continue from the golf course end.
Just confirmation here on Trisha Chetty. She's suffering from severe back spasms and won't be able to come back for the match, which is very unfortunate.
South Africa are going to be a batter short. This one is into the pads of Mangru. There was a massive shot from the South Africans, but umpire Kuma not interested. Perhaps missing leg stump tee. Just having a look at this replay here. It's a ball that's coming in. Wow.
That was a very full delivery, that one. And you could see that the off stump was the only stump exposed. Impact was definitely in line with middle stump. First instinct, maybe going down leg, but other
maybe
than that,
it looked a lot closer than the first ball of the game. Shabnam Ismail in again, and this one, it goes through her completely. It does Mangru. She's almost batting with a hole in the bat there. It looked like it's maybe got under the bat, but she just put the bat there and there was no room for her to spread out. So we wish Trisha Chetty all the very best. Just look at this one. How did that miss something? Everything. Wow.
That literally passed the inside edge of the bat, past the outside edge of off stump, and
an
went
inside
to
edge
the
in the leg
keeper.
before decision. That's
I see. Okay, sharp eyes from umpire Kuma over here.
Experience gets you everywhere. Shabnam in again and clean her up. Stumps flying everywhere, and South Africa have their ninth. The Windies 1 away from closing out.
The furniture disturbed. What a beautiful delivery here from Shabnam Ismail. There was nothing that she could do there. A little bit of a cutter. It was swinging away and absolutely destroyed the stumps. Off stump leaning to the left, middle stump leaning to the right. What a delivery here from Shabnam Ismail.
Mangru's gone for 15. That means that the Windies have one more batter left to come to the wicket. South Africa are going to be one short tee because Trisha Chetty will not be batting. And so we wish her all the best, because particularly remember that they leave, if it's not tonight, it's tomorrow for New Zealand for that World Cup. And that'll bring Connell to the wicket. 10 and 11 are at the wicket now. And you almost imagine it's a matter of time here with Shabnam Ismail bowling the way she is.
Oh, truly. That's a little bit of movement there still in the back end of the innings. Still a lot to be offered here for the pace bowlers. Still very difficult for the batters, and even more so for batters at the bottom of the order. Just trying to survive here now, Fletcher and Connell. And it's to what you said earlier, just bat out the overs.
Yeah, it's a fifer on offer here for Shabnam Ismail. She's got 4. She comes right on over the wicket. Oh, what a wonderful shot. It reminds me. Great bit of fielding by Tumi Sekakune. It was a ball that was guided down to third man. And Tumi Sekakune with the dive to prevent a certain boundary. They get back for 2, but what a bit of fielding there by Sekakune. She really put her body on the line. Exemplary stuff from Tumi Sekakune. It was a gentle guide. She just opened the blade, did Connell, and wonderful fielding there, T.
Diving from that third man region, did well. Didn't quite grab it when she dove, fumbled it, but she didn't fumble it into the boundary. So very well done from Sekakune.
2 balls left, and this one's
that's in the gap.
That's 4 runs there. It's gone down to fine leg. It was a ball that was on the pads of Connell. She's got a small amount of bat onto it. It's gone down fine, and the Windies are fighting back as best they can.
Just trying a little bit too much there, Shabnam Ismail. Very keen with these full deliveries to make it difficult to dispatch. Found the inside edge, so it wasn't actually
through the legs.
Yeah, literally a Vatican slice.
Shibobo,
yes, a panna, spike to a nutmeg from wherever you're from. But yeah, Shabnam Ismail has a catch and gully, third man, backward point cover, mid on, mid off, mid wicket.
And again, and this one's on the bounce, and there's a shy from Brits at the catchy mid wicket region to the non-strikers end. No luck there. 47 gone, 160 for 9, and Shabnam gets 4 for 44 from it. And great bit of bowling, and the crowd can appreciate it.
An exciting bit of bowling here from Shabnam Ismail. She's getting hugs from the team, pats on the back. You love that as a senior player, to really put your hand up for the team in a deciding game. It just shows the quality of experience, shows how fired up she is, and she definitely deserved the performance that she put through today. She was difficult to get away, Shabnam Ismail.
Not only was she economical, but picking up 4 wickets.
Wow.
So really, like you said, it's a senior's performance from Shibnam Ismail. And with South Africa on top here, it's only a matter of time, you might imagine, before another wicket is taken. De Klerk, for a new over, it's a wild waft there at the ball from Fletcher. She really thought she would throw that one about 15 rows back here, but no connection.
Not at all. And just giving you a field update, Fine and Third are the only fielders outside the ring. Point, square leg, cover, extra cover, mid-wicket, and then mid-on and mid-off.
De Klerk for the second ball. It's a full toss and hit up the ground to mid-on, where Shibnam Ismail throws an absolute bullet at the non-strikers end. Nadine de Klerk wasn't interested in getting behind that one, but good cover work there by Mignon du Preez on the overlap.
Lots of shies at the stumps we're seeing here from the South Africans, even though the non-striker would probably be in comfortably, maybe just warming themselves up for the World Cup, just seeing if they could hit the stumps.
White line fever. That was another full toss, and it's gone again to Shibnam Ismail. This time she throws it to the non-striker's end as they take a single, but not accurate enough. Nadine de Klerk, that one going through the hands, and she's really not enjoying that, Tsepo.
No, she's in agony. It looked like it might have hit her forearm. She's holding her forearm. A shot at the stumps from Shibnam Ismail, and you know she has power in that arm. Would have been very close. Didn't hit the stumps, but she hit her fellow pace bowler. And Nadine de Klerk is reeling, but she looks like a tough cookie. She'll keep going, even though she is reeling. Shibnam Ismail comes through, maybe just to give us some consoling words. Maybe a sorry, fam. Didn't mean to do that. So I was going for the stumps. You know how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good camaraderie between teammates here. Right. Now, fourth ball of the over. De Klerk, right arm over the wicket.
Oh,
massive hoik up and over the top of mid-wicket. There's no one there. Couple of bounces. It's into the fence, and it's 4 runs. What a shot.
Not going to die wondering. Here is Connell. She's not going to be here for a long time, but she's definitely here for a good one. Did very well to chip that over the infield on the onside. Mid-wicket didn't stand a chance. Once you cleared that once you cleared the fielder in the circle, there was no one there to cover. There's someone there now. No square leg, a deep square leg to prevent the boundary.
De Klerk, full one, and this is slapped away through the covers. This is going to run away to the boundary for 4. South Africa conceding late here. It's 169 for 9 with 1 ball remaining in the 48th.
Beautiful back-to-back boundaries from batter coming in at the back end of the innings. It's Connell. First the onside, now the offside. It was a little bit of a half volley from Nadine de Klerk, and she obliged that. Connell getting it down the ground through the covers. Beautiful shots, and gets back-to-back boundaries. 169 now for 9.
De Klerk in for the final ball. Again, it's full this time, but she tries to squeeze that away to Connell. No run. 48 gone. 169 for 9. You've got to ask the question, Tsepo, what is she doing at number 11 if she can bat like this?
With strokes like that. Yeah, I know it's difficult to say, but at the same time, the deliveries were given to her. Some half volleys, easy to chip over the leg side and easy to dispatch on the offside. But before that, run seeming hard to come by. Batters struggling to actually dispatch it. So, Connell coming here with power and, probably needs to come up the order in the future in the World Cup.
Absolutely. And just a reminder of what we're doing here at the Imperial Wanderers for the 4th One-Day International. It's the Black Day, Black One-Day International. It's to end gender-based violence. It's a hashtag end GBV, and we stand in solidarity with Cricket South Africa.
Damn straight, dude.
We're all wearing black, looking suave as always.
We must respect.
Aibonga Kaka from the golf course end. It's full and just punched up the wicket. No run there.
Aibonga Kaka to me is probably the bowler of the series. I believe
it was her fifer earlier in the series that really set her up here.
No, truly. And I guess in terms of not really expecting too much coming back from injury, yes, she has been a quality bowler, but now she's gone above and beyond.
Especially in the absence, Tsepo, of
fielding.
Marizan Cup. That was a great bit of fielding. It was just not too long on. It was a fantastic stop, and immediately the release was good. Looks like Steyn there at mid-on, and she's really exemplified wonderful fielding. She's saying, why did you even think of leaving me out of the World Cup squad? Because she's had a great day in the field.
Oh, fantastic. Diving to her left, literally, as she's picking it up, she's still on her knees, shies at the stumps, but misses very, very close there.
Kaka in again. This one is going down to fine leg. There's a shout for 2, but they decline it as Tryon does the fielding. Bit of a swipe there off the legs. 171 for 9.
Chloe Tryon is the field in the deep here at fine leg. There's also someone in the deep at a deep square leg, a mid wickets, a long on, mid off, cover, point, backward point, and third.
Kaka halfway through her over, and this is a drop into the ground. She thinks about going, does Fletcher, but declined by Connell, and Dupree is only too happy to cut things off.
We have a comment here on YouTube from Anis Mohammed. Afternoon, gents. Afternoon, Anis. It's great to have you here. Now we have an Anis and an Anisa Mohammed. So if you guys want to be part of the action, do comment on YouTube. Tweet us at OneWorldSR.
Massive swipe here. It's gone high up in the air, but it's gone straight, and that'll be a 1 bounce into Staines' hand. They're going to come back for 2. There's an opportunity for a run out, but this throw was a little bit too strong, and so Kaka couldn't get it done in time. Good running there by the West Indians. Connell's now raced to 15 with Fletcher on 5. It's 173 for 9. 1 ball remaining in the 49th.
We'll do everything now to get as many runs as they can. There's no point dying wandering here with only 7 balls left in the innings. Send it as far as you can. See what you can do as we see fielders. The fielder from third going into the circle, and the fielder at mid-wicket going to the boundary.
Towards cow almost. It's not quite your conventional mid-wicket. You've got a forward square leg in place on the boundary. Kaka in again, and it's a full slower delivery, but it's just knocked away, and they're able to get 1 without much fuss as de Klerk does the cleanup work.
Literally in the gap that de Klerk had left, would have gone to her straight at mid-wickets. 179 now after 49 overs, and that ends Ayabonga Kaka's spell. 10 overs, 1 maiden, 25 runs, and 2 wickets. She has been not quite the pick of the bowlers today, but she's been reliable. She's been economical, going at just 2.5 and taking wickets. You've got to love to see it.
The key thing is, T, in the absence of Marizan Kapp, she's really just taken that role of as an opening partner to Shabnam Ismail with 2 hands and then dominated accordingly.
She's done very well with the new ball as well. Movement throughout the middle overs at the beginning of the innings. So she's been very, very exciting. Only 3 big overs, and the rest look like they didn't even go for 1. They basically just went for 1, and that's throughout the entire inning. So very great bowling here from Ayabonga Kaka.
De Klerk with the final over. She comes right home over the wicket into the right-handed Fletcher, who has an absolute swipe at it. Effie Fletcher just throwing the kitchen sink at that 1 tee and not getting anything.
Not getting anything. And just a quick update on the field. Third and fine are in the circle. There's a point, a cover, an extra cover, long on, long off, deep cow corner, and also a deep square leg.
De Klerk in again, and this one's fallen. There's another swipe, but it's just gone over the top. I think she's got a... It was a good take by Jafta. South Africa have wrapped up, and de Klerk gets her first wicket. Gone, caught behind. That is the end of the West Indian innings. 174 all out, and we've wrapped it up here inside 50 overs. Wonderful stuff from us. But we've got some lunchtime interviews for you, T. Tell us about it.
Yes, lunchtime interviews with the under-19, the SA under-19 and SA emerging coach, Dinesha Devryan. So that's going to be pretty exciting. And just going back to the game here, that slower ball doing the business here for Nadine de Klerk to give her first wicket. Effie Fletcher, after scoring 6 runs off 18 balls, has to go in the West Indies 174 all out.
South Africa were looking for a victory, and this is a heck of a way to get started with it. It was the West Indians who won the toss, and they decided they'd have a bat. Deandra Dotton and Rashada Williams walked out to bat, and it was Williams again who's had a horrible series so far. She was gone early for just 6 runs. She was gone at 19 for 1. And then there was a wonderful partnership between Dotton and Kaisia Knight, in which they put a substantial partnership together. When Dotton was out, she was caught. Lewis bowled Shabnam Ismail. Kasia Knight was the next to go. She went with a score at 104 for 3, and she was gone. Caught Ishmael Bolt try and bolt really well to put pressure on the West Indian bowlers. And Kasia Knight will also be a little bit upset with herself for being dismissed too short of a half century. It was then Hayley Matthews' turn to go, and she was gone not long after Kasia Knight. She was gone for just 8. Caught Wolfhard bowled Sekakune. Then it was the wicketkeeper Shemaine Campbell, who was out at the score of 122 for 5. She was gone for 15, bowled by Chloe Tryon, and that, Seppo, was, for me, the pick of the deliveries for today. A wonderful bit of bowling from Chloe Tryon. Then it was Alia Alene, who was there, but not for long. She was gone for 1 from 3, caught Trisha Chetty, bowled Ayabonga Kaka, and then things kind of just were a matter of process, as Anisa Mohammed, the West Indian captain, was dismissed after Sherian Fraser with the score not much further along at 150 and 152 respectively. And then the last one out, Mandy Mangru, just before that last wicket of Alfie Fletcher was dismissed, and Alfie Fletcher was that wicket. Caught Steyn, bowled de Klerk. Pick of the bowlers was Shabnam Ismail, 4 for 44 in her 10. Ayabonga Kaka just going at 2.5 to the over, 2 for 25. And then wickets for de Klerk, Sekakune and Tryon. But wonderful start for the South Africans. They'll hope to put a good batting performance on, and we will be with you after the break. Here's a wonderful interview on offer for you.
Hello, and welcome to the Full Quota podcast. My name is Mpho Mutlani, and I've got Tim alongside with me on One World Sports Radio. Remember, whenever you're on and you're watching us and you like our content, please do subscribe to the channel. We've got British and no, that's gone actually. It's South Africa versus Argentina Rugby Championship this Saturday. Some live digital commentary with a watch along, and you can talk to us. So that's going to be quite cool. But today we have a special guest. We have a conversation with one of the leading ladies in the South African women's circuit. She's the national under-19 head coach and also the head coach at the National Academy, Danisha Devnarain. We've got her coming up. Tim, I just wanted to check how you're doing. And there was some news coming along the pipeline with the Proteas team being announced to go to Sri Lanka. Any surprises there?
No, I don't think there's any surprises there. It's the usual suspects, but the one positive is that Dwayne Pretorius is back. He's clearly fit and ready to go. I think that was in some sense a missing jigsaw at the side. So it's good to see him back.
Yes, and we're going to talk a lot about that back on our normal Tuesday slot of the Full Quota podcast. We're going to be doing Tuesday and Thursday slots coming along the pipeline as the domestic season starts. We've got some good guests in and around the South African domestic circuit that we're going to be talking with as the season starts. September is normally cricketing season. Sun's out, not a lot of wind, just beautiful pitches being laid out, and that's what we love, and that is the game we love of cricket. But let's get ourselves going. Let's bring in Danisha to discuss her career in sport, and also her role as the CSA under-19 coach, and also the head coach of the emerging team that's going to be playing against Thailand in a month's time. So let's get her on and let's get chatting. Hi, Danisha. How are you doing?
Hi, Mpho. Hi, Tim. Thank you guys for having me on. Really appreciate being here. Thanks a lot for having me on the show.
Yes, we should actually be thanking you for taking time out of your busy day. I'm sure it's quite a lot busy with the emerging tour happening in less than 20 days time. So thank you very much for your time. Denisha, we just wanted to have a chat to get to know you better. Our listeners are really avid women's cricket followers. I actually got a WhatsApp message right now with a question, which I'll ask later. But I think, Denisha, let's start from the beginning. Obviously, you played 51 times for the South African women's national side from 2008 up until 2016. The first question is, how did you get into cricket? Were you always a cricket lover, or did you pick it up at school?
Yeah, I think obviously my first interaction was cricket. Wasn't the normal one. I was actually a vivid, like a proper fan for soccer. I loved soccer. So I grew up in Johannesburg Springs, and I played a lot with the boys. So it was just soccer. We host soccer tournaments, and it's just soccer. And then it so happens to be that the Cricket World Cup started, and there was this buzz around the Cricket World Cup. And I asked, like, what's the sport about? And do only guys play the sport? And at that time, women's cricket was unheard of. So like my dad said, yeah, he assumes that it's a guy sport. And I promise you, from the moment I heard that, I was like, there's no way that has to change. So I went to the carpenter next door, and I made him carve me out a cricket bat out of wood. And it's probably not nice to say now, but we used a potato, right? And I'm very sorry that it had to be a food item, and we taped masking tape over that. And that's how we initially started. And then obviously it evolved to a normal cricket bat. And then I think fun then. So at first I just wanted a bat. We drew chalk lines on the wall. So everyone told me that I got bowled. I said, I don't see the bails out. It's actually quite funny. But so I just wanted a bat. I thought bowling was a lot of work, and fielding was even worse. I don't want to chase after the balls. But yeah, so I was like a spoiled brat amongst all the boys. But yeah, and then that's where I suppose where the love of the game started. And then I found myself thinking more about cricket than soccer, and I just fell in love with the intricacies of the game, the challenges that came with it. Like, it wasn't just like, for me, soccer was like, we've got to score, get the ball, pass it, move forward, let's get it. We weren't even thinking tactics, but my brain just exploded with cricket. I was like, why, like, different, how do I get the ball here? How do I get the ball there? But it was more in a batting perspective. I wasn't really much thinking about the bowling, which is quite ironic, because when I made my national debut, I got selected as the opening bowler. So
it's very funny, because obviously when you speak about the potato, I'm like, I should have used the potato. We were trying to find many ways to create a cricket ball out of the masking, the whole masking tape thing. We ended up, I think, covering a tennis ball with it, and it just had too much bounce. But I get you. I'm with you there.
In terms of your transition, we will go back to your coaching just now, but you talk about the intricacies of the game. Was coaching always something that you wanted to go back on? Because you've been coaching now at various levels for quite a long time. So was that something that always in the back of your mind to do the coaching?
Tim, to be honest, it wasn't. I didn't think I'll follow a career path in coaching, if I'm being really honest with myself. What I did do well, or what I did enjoy at the time when I played for the national squad, a few of us, if we had extra time, we'll get together in the nets, and so we'll get around the nets and we'll just throw balls. And I offered my advice at the time. I just saw it as advice, but the feedback that I got from the players was something I really enjoyed, because something that's really important to me in my life and in my coaching is being in a position to grow other people. That's like, it's a fundamental key for me. So I wanted to grow people, and when I got this feedback, I was like, maybe it's something I can do on the side. So I actually went the studying route. After high school, I went into university, and I got my financial management degree, and then I did coaching in schools. And then it was just like a pastime. Even then, it didn't click. It's not, coaching on a career path. I've got to make something of my life. Let's go into finance. You're good with numbers. Let's do that. And then we got to 2014, and KZN offered me the KZN women's job. But I was unaware of the fact that coaching was just fulfilling my life. It was, I felt like I feel like I found my purpose. And, I don't think every human can live a full life and say that they found their purpose in life. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity. In 2015, I'd got my level 3 certificate done. And from there, it was no turning back. But I'm also I love the books. So in 2015, I also started my HRM, Human Resource Management degree, which I qualified. But I don't find myself ever being in an office unless I'm retired and I need something to do with my life. But it'll be in a cricket space office, not at a bank, not at a firm. So yeah, if I had to give you maybe a specific time, maybe around 2015, and that was still like I think there was like about 8 years of coaching before that. But 2015, when I realized I was that only female in that class of, I think it was 30 males, and Charles Langerfeld was on there, the ex Protea analyst was on there, and I'm like, wow, you are destined for something, and you don't have to figure it out now, but just keep on doing what you're doing, because it was fulfilling my life, it was enriching my life. And now, yeah, I'm here today, and maybe in the next 3 or 4 years we'll be having a different conversation.
Oh yes, we're gonna love that one. We're gonna love that conversation, and we're really excited for you. You speak about a passion, and you speak so passionately about the game of cricket. How, coming through up until the professional level, how was it? Did you have to join a club? Did you have to try and navigate? Because I think a lot of the girls out there are finding different ways of getting into the game. But how was your journey up until actually the Proteas?
Yeah, quite an interesting one. But I think I was one of those players that actually fulfilled right through the CSA pipeline. So when we moved to Durban, I started playing Baker's. Well, at that time it was Baker's mini cricket. At first, I went to play because we get a nice bucket of cookies. That was nice. But then, obviously, I would play with the girls, and everyone be like, "Wow, look at this girl, like she's really good." And at that time, you're so young, you just love the game, you just want to play. And then, obviously, from there, my dad put me in a women's cricket club. I think I was still 9 at the time, and it was a woman. Like, I'm playing against women. And you at first very nervous, but I think after my first season, I think I topped the bowling rankings. And then my dad said, no, I think you got to start playing with the boys now. So up until under 11 cricket to under 17 cricket, my club cricket, I played with boys. So, just in terms of clubs. But through that, obviously you perform well and people identify you. And I went for KZN schools. And from grade 8 to grade 12, I represented KZN under 19 schools team. I made the SC under 19 squad in my final year. And then I got selected actually in grade 10. So in grade 10, I got selected for the KZN women's team, and still then you're still a youngster. And then, yeah, by the age of 18, 19, performed really well in the season. Got invited to a national camp, and at the age of 19, they said, you know what, you cracked the nod and you take in the first ball in your debut match. But it's been quite a journey, but I've been one of those that actually followed through the system, which was, it's actually nice to know that you started the Bakers and now you've played for your country and now you in a position to serve your country.
Do you think that you played for the Proteas and gone through the system, worked yourself all the way up, that as a coach you have a what's the word? It's helped you, shall we say? The fact that you've played for the national side, you've played with a lot of the players that are now in the Proteas side. Do you think that's helped you, having played the game at the highest level? In terms of as a coach?
Yeah, look, Tim, I think that really helps me a lot as well because I've been exposed to that structure. So I understand the challenges at each level, which is really good. Now that you're at a high performance level, you can sort of address gaps where I feel that if we address those gaps, that we'll have maybe a mass participation at a younger level. Because one of the big things that I found out working through those structures and even coaching at that structure, so I coached right from the bottom to where I am now. So I coached mini cricket, primary school, senior, women's teams and that sort of feel. And what I've realized is our transition, say like from under 13 to under 16 cricket, it drops by 75%. Girls, as soon as they get into high school, they don't want to pick up a cricket bat. And that's a massive thing for me because that affects our pool up top. The quality of players that's coming through. Is there enough competition to put pressure up top on the national level? And these are the questions we're addressing at the moment, which there has been great headway. For the first time, actually, we have an under 16 framework coach for the females. So each union has an under 16 female coach that takes care of your under 16 department, which is exactly what you want to see for women's cricket. And then furthermore, in years to come, if we can get an under 13 framework coach, then we're trying to mirror the system to what the guys have. And that's what I feel my focus right now is to obviously, you wanna get a sound structure, but you also want to produce high level elite performances at the top. And I feel if a player has to go through all those systems to get to the top, they will know the game a lot better. I feel I wasn't one of the talented ones. I felt I was very hardworking. But you get a lot of players that actually miss, like they just start playing under 19 cricket. 4 or 5 years from now, they're in the national squad. So it's part of your journey, I suppose.
Yeah, I do think it's part of your journey, and we've seen a lot of obviously being in and around women's cricket in around Gauteng. You see a lot of very, very good youngsters at 13, 14, 15 playing in their club's first teams. And as you were speaking, kind of obviously now made sense as because of the drop off, and there's not a lot of cricket in schools as well. Well, it's growing, but it isn't there at this point. With your role as your dual role, obviously as SA under 19 coach, as well as the National Academy, obviously you started speaking into those pipelines. But what's the ultimate goal for either? Is it what for you? What if when you finish? What would you like to see coming out? Is it for you to set up the pipeline, or is it for you to make sure that we have enough under 19s? Enough of a pool for you to be able to be successful at that World Cup in 2023?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, actually. I think it's a little bit of everything, which makes it a very difficult task, actually. You want to sustain your so remember, it's an inaugural World Cup. It's never been done before. So now my focus shifts to my under 16 girls because they will qualify for the 2023 World Cup. So I want to sustain obviously a free flowing flow of players going from under 13 to under 16 to under 19, hopefully National Academy, emerging, and to the Proteas. So I try to simplify it and strategize my planning or my planner in 3 ways, which is really important for me and the space that I work in. The first thing is to sustain that structure. I want a free-flowing database where in 4 years' time we can track a player. We want to know what they're doing, why they're doing it, where they are, if they left cricket, why they left cricket. The second thing that I'm massive on in my program and what I want to do is that I want to produce Proteas. So when I work with National Academy emerging, a lot of that focus is that I always tell the girls, I don't want to see you in my program again. I don't want to see you in my team. And they always laugh about it. But it's if I don't see you again, that means I've done my job. If I'm seeing you all the time, that means I am really bad at my job. So obviously to produce the next project. And then the third thing, and it's really important because this is how I coach. I coach with perspective and empathy. So I'm really big on the person first before the player. And if I can increase their growth